My people, hey, what's up, hiphopcitizens.com and the world for the ProQuo Show. I am your man, Quo. And to the left of me is my man, Pro.
I am Pro. What up?
Chilling,
I wasn't
man.
sure.
You know
I
how it
wasn't sure I
goes.
was gonna be next to you, man. For a second there, it was trying to send me to the dungeon. What's
Oh,
good,
yeah.
yo?
Nah, man, just on that marketing grind.
Yeah, man. Tell me about it.
Email,
Tell me about it.
text,
Tell me about it.
phone. I know.
Yes,
We
sir.
both been. Love
Yes,
it.
sir, man. You've been doing the hard hustle, man. For real. I know that.
And I came into that last night. I wrote a verse. I recorded the verse. I was like, I'm still gonna create.
Fire verse.
There's
I
nothing
heard
wrong
that
with
verse.
that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Robbie he gave me some good input. I'm gonna re-record it because he actually saw the flaw that I overlooked, which was I just wrote it. I was trying to get because the flow's so different, and I kind of over enunciated some of the things that I should have been drawing back on, which was what I was going for. But you know how that goes. So it's okay. There will be another take.
I got one or two I can probably say too, but it's easy for me because I haven't wrote a verse yet, so I can be like, yeah, I would have, but we all do that. But you're too nice. You don't do that enough to me. You'd be like, yo, that was fire. I'm like, come on, man. It wasn't all fire. It was like fire.
Yeah, but see, that's the fire. When it comes to lyrical content, whatever you would categorize as something that is not, a B plus or something like that. I'm saying, hey, Pro, this is just so you know, bro. This is fire, fire, fire. Because lyrically, you are the upper echelon, man.
Man,
you know this.
Man, it's not all the lyrics though, man. I appreciate that, but it's like you said. It's like those things you were pointing out. Like sometimes you chomping at the bit a bit. You know what I mean? This I do it all the time. I get real excited. I'll come in. I'll be like, yo, and I'm like going kind of crazy. And then I'm like, would I really say a verse like that if I was on the mic in a club or if I was,
You're a perfectionist because I'll tell you why. There's been many times.
Speaking of perfectionist, what up, Miguel? What up, Tree?
Hey, what's up, Miguel? Yo, I thought I had the comments on. I got my I'm on Facebook right on a monitor there. We do see a few things. Everybody, Tree, what's good, girl? But yeah, you're a perfectionist because I am too, and I get it. But there's been times where you're like, yo, I want to redo this verse, and you have it down pat. Like this is exactly how everything should sound. But there's an essence of that raw that is like you can't duplicate it, and then the more you try to perfect it, it's like it goes away when it's on record.
Yeah,
because then you go to a show, it's a whole, that's another category. But for recording, you say, oh, I want to say this word like this, and you start changing it. It's like what I did with Devil's Dancing, right? I was like, I got the verse, I rewrote it, and you're like, nah, man, you need to go back with the original, So
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I love your verse on that. It's one of my favorite verses on the whole album.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Speaking of the album, well, actually, before we get into all our stuff, so we want to let everybody know, we got a special guest coming up. We're gonna have him on pretty early, probably about 10 minutes. We're gonna have Terun Moore up here. Amazing story. Cruz, you can tell him a little bit more about it. Give him the 30-second synopsis.
Yeah, so LD out of Freedom Corner grew up with Terun, and it's some things in life that we do. We make one mistake that could change our lives forever, and for this young man, it did. And he's going to tell us his story and show you how he's impacting the community for the greater good.
Absolutely, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
30 seconds.
Yeah, that was maybe 24. Yeah, let me fill in the last 6. So the last 6 would be the stuff he's doing now is the same kind of stuff we trying to do. He's doing it from his platform. He's turning something that could have been incredibly negative, which I mean was obviously at the time, into something that was that's being used as a launching pad for as much good as humanly possible. So that's always a great story. Those are inspiring. You get the pros and the cons of both sides of those kind of things. So we'll hear more about that and hear his story, which I'm really excited about. We got I think LD's checking in the back. I think
he is LD. Yeah. Be with us as well.
Jay, your connection has been every 20 seconds you're dipping out. So just so you know, with your Wi-Fi or something, but
hopefully that captures it differently on the real.
I mean, it's the heat, but they can't capture the heat.
I can't. Anyway, we'll talk about that at some point. But I think that what leads me into a thought would be that the most important people that we have are the people that actually fight for community and do good for their community, especially when they're focusing on the youth, the teens, and young adults. Because, you know, a lot of people out there come from separated parents, come from, you know, a mom raising them and no dad, or vice versa, you know, more women raising it than, you know, missing their father. I came from separation, divorce, you know, so I understand a little bit of that.
Sure.
And there's times when you're in that 18 to 25 age bracket and younger, right, where you need some guidance, and to have someone that, you know, a young man can step up to, or a young woman can step up to, and feel like, you know, I could talk to you and talk it out and actually learn something from you, and have that older brother parent feeling, you know. So those are the most important people we have, I feel.
Yeah, man.
You know,
and
shout aside from being a good father.
And shout out to Miguel. Miguel is one of those kind of dudes. Shout out to Miguel Quinones. He's in the chat right there. He said, "What up, familia? Blessings,
up,
champ. Blessings, Jay from the Lemon Tree." It's like people that do that work in the community. No, that's what he said. He did it. You know, say.
I know. I'm telling Miguel. Okay. I see what you did there.
Oh, I see. I thought you said I did. I was like, come on, man. He knew. Yeah. He knows how you get down. It's just like when, you know, people that do the work in the community, to me, it's like educators, you know what I'm saying? It's like educators, community workers. It's kind of all the same thing. It's like, you know, we've had a lot of guests on here that are educators. And the thing is, what people don't often get is that, you know, when you teach, whether it's K through 12 or you teach in higher ed, it's, you know, you more than a teacher. You were that parental figure. You were a counselor. You're that, you know, voice of reason sometimes. Sometimes that voice of confidence, you know, that people will say stuff to you in confidence that, you know, that they may not have that other person. So it's, you know, all of our community activists out there, and our sort of like socially engaged people that are doing the good work, man. It's like you said, it's often unheralded, and the people that do it, they know their impact, but they don't often get their flowers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not often
heroes.
They don't often get their flowers. And it's like, it's great to see when people are doing those kind of things. So I'm excited. We have him coming up today too. He said he got it from Jay's verse. Miguel said that. And big shout out to Don Juan. He's giving the greetings from Houston.
Juan. What's up, my brother?
Yeah, man. So Don Juan and I got up last week out here. We got up in Arlington, Virginia.
Miguel went straight with it. He said, "Shout out to my people in Leominster, Mass."
Yeah, there you are.
Right there with you, bro.
That's it. But yeah, so seeing Don Juan was really cool. We get to chop it up, talk all that business game.
That was epic.
Stuff.
I got to dial up on a FaceTime. It was very difficult to hear me, but I was loving it. You know, I just wanted to shed my energy right there. Next time we will be all together, though. You know, chopping it up. It's great.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. So we all working. We all putting in that work.
We got some things happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were talking a little bit about the music. You know, we always try to give people little updates what we're doing. We it's good to have LD coming through. I think he jumped back out, but when he's back in. So people that don't know, who haven't heard us speak on it before. So LD is from Freedom Corner. There's a lot of Freedom Corner on our album. Freedom Corner brand is one of the labels that we're working in unison with for our project to come out on. There's our own, which is Dotted Eye Music and Entertainment, something I started a while back. LD, Freedom Corner brand, Sin with Family and Friends Entertainment, and then distribution through The Orchard, which is Sony's independent arm. So all that put together is a lot of good people in the process. Don Juan's a big part of that. We're helping on the business side too. We've been trying to lock that stuff down and figure out how we're gonna, you know, bring all the talented people that make up the ProQuo Show and ProQuo, the group behind the scene, the Instant Brotherhood that Jay spearheaded, which is all the producers and the people that are involved in making the tracks. So there's a lot of people, more so than just us two, who sit here and do this show, that make everything happen. So it's just like Jay's always saying, it's just surrounding yourself with good people, you know what I mean? And just trying to have as many around as possible.
And it's, you know, we kind of come into the belief, and we might actually be the ones to change that, where, you know, you can't come out of Boston and be a rapper. You can't, but you can't. Okay. You know, that makes sense. I get it. But we're representing that area, and we're making moves because we understand team. and surround yourself with people that are better than you, or you can learn from, or help balance your mental scales,
Yeah.
right? That's what it's all about, and we've done that, and we're doing that, and we're attracting those other people that are the Jedis. We're walking with a force of,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the same path, a bunch of
Yeah.
Jedis on the same path. So,
And much like, to make, I guess, to make the
Adam, what
analogy,
up, bro?
to run situation, it's like, it's trying to make something good from a bad situation. And it's like the bad situation for us was COVID, obviously, the whole country in it. We wouldn't have been able to do the project that we're doing if it wasn't for that. It just wouldn't have happened. You and I had talked about collaborating since 2015. That didn't happen until 2020.
Right.
When this situation really started to unfold, and we took our time with it, we're finished, at least the first album. But that's really when it all begins, and then when all the hustle kicks in, and it's like, we're trying to capitalize on the time that's been given to us by adverse situation to actually flip it into something positive. And we may not have been this fortunate to say team and all this, because it's very hard to establish a team, because all those people who came into play, everybody who's here, everybody who's behind the scenes, all the people on Instant Brotherhood, how difficult that was before this happened, to get people all on the same wavelength. And I think with the extra time that the whole, globe was facing, it just gave people, I mean, even when you think of that call that we did, that conference call that we had like 15, 20 people on it, checking in is like internationally, just to even sow the seeds of the plan. I mean, can you imagine that if it wasn't during the heart of COVID, people would have been like, nah, I'm at the club. I got to, I'm saying? Like,
you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And so, it's like Messenger existed pre-COVID, Facebook Live, all this stuff was pre-COVID. But until it was like, you can't go out, you can't, the restrictions started to apply, and you're seeing how it's impacting your life and other people's lives. And then you start to realize the tools that you have in front of your face for free. It's like, why am I not? Because and of course, the global impact of this virus, this is it's a new beginning for a lot of people. And it was for some people, they weren't fortunate to be with us because of the disease taking them off the planet. And that's unfortunate. And I say a prayer for every single one of them. But, for us fortunate that understand what's going on, unity, IB Hood, Instant Brotherhood, that's what it's about, and we just keep adding it to people and keep coming. We want the IB Hood to be a army,
It's just as true for my academic people out there. It's like I think some of them are actually checking us out on the LinkedIn. By the way, the LinkedIn is for us is we're using my page. If you're not on that, it's just the link. Just go to LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the linkedin.com/ the little IN for in, and then you got to do / the person's name. Mine's Professor Lyrical. So I was just checking out that it's broadcasting over there. But for people, you can interact over there as well. You don't have to be on the Facebook or the YouTube or whatever way that you're checking us. There's about 8 different ways that we're broadcasting. But to all the people that are on the education side, it's very similar. We know the same thing. Think about this is sometimes taboo to talk about, because sometimes you have, I've been at multiple institutions, and you have a leader who the leader doesn't want to do the tech thing, right? The leader likes, usually leaders have been leaders for a long time. So they've done things a certain way. And it's like, they want everybody in the boardroom. You know what I mean? Everybody. And it's like, the rest of us are going, what are we doing this for? Like, are you serious with let's play school and do meeting? Like, we can't do meetings from our house. Like, we can't do meetings from a different part of campus. Like, everybody's got to be in one place. Why? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the thing? I like to look people in the eye. Dog, these are people you work with. It's not like they're scheming on taking you out. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're trying to do business with multiple companies. We're talking about internally. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you said, Jay, it's like the productivity could have increased a long time ago, and now it's forcing us into it to think about the big thing now for education. Is no different for us too here in DC. It's like, sort of this hybrid model. It's like, what are we going to do with the hybrid model? Some schools do. I did my doctorate on a hybrid model. My doctorate was hybrid, meaning I took I go to class, and then I'm online for the same class. You go back and forth. And then sometimes you have a strictly on ground course. You can do that as well. You can have, the combination. It's very flexible. If it wasn't for that,
I think
it'd be crazy.
For us, and then we definitely get to get Terun. But
yeah, we got to get Terun in here.
The adaptation for us being our age and what we've went through and all that stuff. I watch a movie that's filmed in the 80s. It was actually, I watched a couple. I watched like 3 of them, but it was a Hear No Evil, See No Evil, whatever, with Pryor and Wilder, Gene Wilder.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I'm watching the movie, but I'm also paying attention to the backgrounds and when they're in environments, how the environments are different. They're eating at a restaurant, they're at a bar, no phones,
smoking.
Social, everybody's social. Yeah, smoking everywhere.
Smoking
in the plane, like
airplanes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
like okay. So the human connection is the missing element that's kind of dwindling, right? Where it's like, this is human connection for sure, but there is a different thing when you can actually feel someone's energy when you're next to them. That's kind of, unfortunately, probably going to be, it's already has disappeared significantly.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, you got to look at the tool, like you said, we got to jump into him. But here's the thing. Our end product, if you want to use the word product in education, is the students, right? It's like it's about the students. So it isn't about us meeting as faculty and administrators. That's so that we can make the student experience better. It's the same thing if you're a community activist, whatever you're doing. It's about the end goal. It isn't about you doing the teaching. I mean, I do faculty development, so it has to be about the faculty. But my mindset is I'm helping the faculty so they can help the students. So if you can save me time, if I don't have to go meet with faculty administrators all day and I can directly deal with the student issues, it's a win for me. I'd rather the human connection for me take place with the students than with the faculty or administrators. That's my slant. And in every company, it's like that too, right? It's like, okay, yeah, we got to meet as a team, but who are you serving? It's like, yeah, your faculty and your employees, they have to be happy. But at the end of the day, it's like, that bottom line is driven by who your customer base is and who you're actually serving. So it is a little give and take. And, this is helped us maybe
learning how to adapt.
Yes, sir.
You got to adapt at the end of the day. Adapt.
Well, speaking
and be good at it or don't.
Speaking of adapting, we're going to bring in
adaptability.
We're going to bring in a young man who's done some adapting. Jay, I think you need to try to knock on the door and bring in our guest, man. His name is Terun Moore.
Very special guest, Terun Moore.
Yeah, man, knock on that door. See if he can come in. Oh, man, you not wait one more time. No. See, you're doing the fake sound effect. You need to hit that again. Watch this. Look at that.
The echoes on there.
It was delayed. Okay. Yo,
there
he is.
Good. What's good with y'all?
Man, we having a great night. What's up, brother?
Man, it's always a great night, man. I
appreciate every night is a great night, man.
Appreciate y'all inviting me. How y'all doing?
We living, man. We living. Yo,
I can't complain.
We did a pre sort of like little show on you. I don't know if you know that, but we did like a little 5-minute kind of broadcast just for the sake of doing it. Yeah, we don't usually do that. We did a little pre one just to let people know. A lot of times we have MCs up here, we have educators or whatever, and we have people just like yourself, but not with the same backstory. So the work that you're doing, we know about, and I think Jay and I really wanted to jump right into. We want to start with the current and maybe take some people back through the backstory, because the backstory is obviously the fascinating part with you. So
definitely
on your, we're gonna put you on there solo for a second. Put you in the solo. So you see, to run little tag right there. We got to expand that. Boom. Terun Moore, Strong Arms of Jackson. So that's the first thing.
We know Terun be looking 19, but he ain't. Telling you right now, he just took real good care of himself.
Yeah, he's looking like 22. I got him for 22. But he's
22.
We lost him. There you are.
Kiss me tomorrow when I got that haircut. Then
that's what it is. That's what it is. So what is the what is Strong Arms of Jackson? Is that what that is? Strong Arms of Jackson. Tell us about that. And what's the work you do with them?
All right, so I co-direct what we call Strong Arms of Jackson. It's a credible messenger project that we started here in Jackson for the community. And when I say credible messenger, I mean someone who will impact the person, maybe experience incarceration, got some street experience too, who transform their way of life now and doing something better and trying to transform the mind of youth and people who might be going down the same road to try to help prevent them from making the same mistake, or, spending time in prison or just being impacted or caught up in the system.
Absolutely.
Well done.
And is that, I'm sorry. Go
Go
Jay.
ahead, bro. No, go ahead.
No. I was just the only thing I was going to say. Now, was that something that you formed, or something that you work for, or how does that work?
So I formed, me and more people, like we formed it together here in Jackson. It's like the first time is something that we tried this way. I say this way, like hands on, meeting people where they at, you know, like being a real support, not just talk, like action, like really, you know what I'm saying, getting involved with guys and, you know, trying to really be that presence in a guy life that they may have missed, you know, early in life, and trying to really, you know, just trying to really change somebody's bad, by example, you know, and by actions, you know what I mean, like that. So um Strong Arms Jackson is under the umbrella of People's Advocacy Institute. I co-founded People's Advocacy Institute when I came home, and the Credible Messenger is my line of work because I got the experience, you know, in that line of work or in that life, you know, and transforming that life into like a blessing to somebody else. Because you know, for sure, the Lord blessed me to be home, and so I know I came home to be a blessing to somebody else and try to prevent people from making the same mistake as a youth. And our main focus is youth and just people in Jackson, you know, or where I am, you know what I'm saying, around the area, just trying to, you know, trying to touch them and love them. A lot of times, we really love guys. A lot of
chopping. You're coming in a little in and out, just so you know.
Losing you a little bit, bro.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
I said, just trying to love on people. You know, sometimes people be needing some love and some guidance. A lot of times we expect people to know things or be aware of certain things at a certain age when all the time they're not. You know, just meeting people where they at, not judging people for where they are or mistakes that they made, realizing everybody make mistakes and using those mistakes to turn them into power. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just trying to be that inspiration in the community or me and like-minded people, just trying to be an example that we ain't got to be products of our environment and we can turn on lemons into lemonade.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, man. I did research and I was impressed to see, you know, especially that focus on the age of 18 to 25, and then how you've tied in leadership and, you know, like that big brother or father figure experience for them to be able to trust. And, you know, I could feel it off of reading it and just seeing some of these posts, what kind of impact you're making for the community. So that's why I prefaced it in the beginning saying the most important people we have are the ones that focus on the community, especially the youth, you know, trying to help them. So
I work with some awesome people, man. You know what I'm saying? Some people who really love the community and just trying to change the landscape in Jackson. You know, we've been having a lot of upticks in violence and just trying to get our young people to change their way of thought, not fault them, you know what I'm saying? Learning that my ear is big, so I listen to people, you know. I don't talk at young people. I talk to them, you know. But I know who they are because I listen to who they tell me they are. You feel me? That's the only way to be able to reach them. A lot of people be feeling like they lost, or a lot of time, man, folks just need some love, man. You might expect that they had love at home, but some don't. From a lot of broken homes and impoverished communities, undereducated, you know what I'm saying, lost some moral guides. And the only way to reach those people, you got to get out there where they at. You got to meet them where they at. You know what I'm saying? We're going to come in and see what you got going on and try to be a help to you. You know, if I can help you in a way, my organization, we can help you. We're going to be there help to you. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to, what we call it Operation We Loving on Jackson, man, because we just know our city needs some love right now, some understanding. And we just trying to be there on the ground.
That's beautiful, man. Yo, you got my mom chiming in. Mom, you know how that's good when she's dropping a comment. My mom says, "God bless our youth is our future."
Right. Yeah, and I go to the detention center now, and I be trying to tell them that, you know, like, y'all the future. No matter about you being locked up, that your life still valuable because you got another day above ground. You can work on yourself, make better decision making, and change your mindset. You know what I'm saying? When you get your chance, you can be a positive, productive person in your community, and then you can also teach your brother who going down the wrong path that you know better now. You know what I'm saying? We be trying to. That's the whole thing. Like, man, each one really teach one because we need a lot of re-education. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things lost on the youth right now.
Absolutely, yeah. Have you I mean, I'm assuming that you've learned a ton probably about the criminal justice system. You know, obviously being on the inside behind the wall and now being outside on parole. So can you speak to us a bit about how the laws have changed up and what happened that led to, so for people that don't know, Terun, I mean, you can tell more of the story than we can, but just to give people an overview. So Terun went in, he started doing a bid for capital murder when he was 17 years old, I believe, if that's correct. Yeah. And it wasn't until 19 years of serving his sentence that he was actually able to come out on parole, but he went in as a minor. So can you speak
19 and a half, right?
Yeah, 19 years, 6 months, 6 days.
Dude, yeah, I'm sure you know the day. So can you speak to it's great. Can you speak to people about what's got you here, like how you are on the outside right now and why originally you did not have that opportunity?
Or originally I was sentenced to life without parole, but in 2012 the Supreme Court ruled that sentencing a juvenile or minor to life without parole without giving them a second chance at life was cruel and unusual punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with a case in Florida. I think Brian Stevens representing a guy named Graham in Florida, and he had got sentenced to life, and he didn't have a violent charge. But they ruled that a juvenile mind wasn't culpable as an adult. And the Supreme Court ruled that the judge who presided over the case could go back, you know, and re-sentence a juvenile to a lesser sentence, you know what I'm saying, depending on, you know, they, you know, how they felt about the person or whatever. So after they did that for nonviolent offenders in 2014, I think Miller versus Alabama and Arkansas versus Jackson, they did the same thing and they had violent charges. Some had, I think a guy had murder charges. So then after that, they made it retroactive, and for a minute it applied to everybody. But the new Supreme Court judge that Trump just put in, I think his name Kavanaugh, he just wrote a new decision on that matter because somebody just went up for the juvenile life before the Supreme Court, and he kind of rewrote that. You know what I'm saying? Trying to like close the door again on
what a surprise! Mr. Kavanaugh would do such a thing. What a surprise! Yeah.
Surprise to people who don't know what's going on, because most of the juveniles serving life in the states, I ain't got to look at no numbers to know they probably black, brown, or impoverished. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And the community they come from. So them the ones they trying to lock up in a way. So you know what I'm saying? They had to go close that door. You feel me?
Yeah, it was looking a little too porous, and they were like, "Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, you know." Some of that started in the Obama presidency where he was, you know, trying to make a pathway for people to get out. It did continue under Trump, to give him some of his credit, which is not something I always do. But it did continue, truthfully, under his administration. But that was something that was set in motion from the Obama administration. And I think, you know, people start to see that and they're like, wait a minute, there's too many black and brown people now getting a second chance. What's going on here? We're going to have to shut that door, which
incredible.
It's a lot of people need a second chance, though. You know, sometimes you make a mistake when you're young and you really don't know nothing about the system. Then, not only that, coming from certain communities, man, we normalize things that really ain't normal. And that's the way of life. Where, like, we don't really be living, we just be surviving. And we don't really understand, you know, living or what it is to live. So now, like I say, we focus on re-educating guys. We trying to connect careers. We got the 18 to 25 group that you were talking about. We started a workforce readiness program. We've been paying guys $15 an hour in Mississippi. That's way better than minimum wage.
Yeah, for real.
To a trade, you know what I'm saying? Some people need to go back to school, all that, you know what I'm saying? And just being there, you know, getting people to where they need to get, showing people how to get their driver license. You know, for convicted fellas, sometimes people ain't trying to go get legalized, you know what I'm saying? Showing the importance of that, you know, get legalized, you know what I'm saying? Get your ID, build your bank account, you know what I'm saying? Start things that people, you know, like I said, a lot of things we think people know. A lot of people don't really know or even try to get out of, you know what I'm saying? Just get stuck in a way of life.
Yeah, building credit, basics, the basics to get up,
They come up, you know what I'm saying? To get on your feet as a grown person, you know?
Right.
Just show people how to make it out here and, you know, be something different, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't just go along. Like I was telling some young guys today, I love talking to young people, man. I'm telling them, man, don't be afraid to stand out, man. You ain't got to fit in with everybody, man. You made to stand out, embrace that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where I was going with my we were talking about sort of like the before, the during you did the bulk of your time, and you know now, and it's like for the before part, I'm sure you've had to speak on this for people like what it sounds like you've obviously done a lot of talking, a lot of work obviously in the community and trying to address the same situation to prevent it from happening for others. So can you explain to people where your mindset was at the time when you were sort of, you know, kind of pulled into this, and like what even do you think was responsible for allowing you to say, yeah, I can go hold that gun at the store? You know what I mean? Like, where were you in your mindset, and what do you think would have prevented that?
When I look back on it, man, I really was just rebelling. You know what I'm saying? And rebelling for different reasons. Like I said, really know when your father ain't around, man, as a child, you be feeling like, man, something wrong with you. Like, why the f- want me? Oh, I curse on this show. Like, you
Oh
know,
yeah, man, definitely.
It's
Yeah, do that.
it's all love. Yeah.
right, he don't want me, you feel me? That make you feel like you got something to prove, you know what I'm saying, to people, you feel me? I'm from the South, man, being light skinned, you meet a lot of aggression too, you feel me? So I really was just trying to prove a lot of stuff to people who really weren't loyal to me, being loyal to something that really people ain't really care about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I did something that I shouldn't have done. You know, I
And
hurt.
how,
I shouldn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? And can't
and
never.
how, I'm
But
sorry.
it's. I mean, it's not all good. I'm remorseful about that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
trying
for real.
trying to do my part that I can do in the community, help somebody else not experience that pain, help somebody else not do what I did and hurt people like I did. You feel me? So that's the basis of what I'm doing and why I'm so passionate about doing it.
What was this something immediate for you as soon as you went in, or did you have to come to this place? Like, I'm sure there was some anger, resentment for you when you went in, but like, when did all this?
I had to come to this place, accountability. You know, I had to get out of line and blaming and looking for folks to blame about what went on. Man, I had to come to a point of accountability and realizing that I made my bed hard. I had to lay in it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I just started praying, ask the Lord to work on me, to forgive me, and show me a better way.
Yo, how long do you think it took you to get to that point where you accepted it, like in that sense?
I always felt like I was gonna come home again. You know, I ain't never. It was over with for me. I just knew that it was just like I say. My grandma was my A1 man. She taught me to trust in the Lord, and I knew it was real. And He showed me plenty of time while I was in prison. So I always knew and had hope and faith that I was gonna get out one day. And I just wanted to get out and keep my word. That I try to show that blessing that He gave me and be that blessing to somebody else. Touch the community and wherever I go, I share testimony with people, and I just let them know.
What was part of your I'm sure in your journey there's been sort of a time where you had to come to maybe personal forgiveness too. Did that I mean, have you gotten to that point, and if so, when did you come to that point, and how did that work for you?
Hey, be honest, man, I came to all them points when I was locked up. You feel me? Hey, I ain't for what I did, I ain't mad at the days I did. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever time I had to do, I know it was said for me to do for what I did. Feel me? But I had been came to the conclusion, you know what I'm saying, or reaching that point where I had forgave myself, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't gonna let the guilt of my actions control me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Place. And that was the way, like I said, they just had my body, my mind and spirit been free. When I first got locked up by me having all that time, I was doing 23-1. So I hope listen to this is real. I was young, I was locked down in prison. At 23-1, sometimes I'll come out on the weekend, skipping days in the shower, all that, 2 showers a week maybe. I had the Bible, man. Hey, the Proverbs and Psalm, they grew me up. It turned me into a whole man. Like for years I was dealing with my routine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Threw me up and it showed me something. And when I came home, I just was like waiting to be able to apply that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Be able to show folks that, you know, it's real and it can happen.
Yeah, because you stuck your head in the books, right? You went you went in on them books.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you said, I also remember too, you were talking about guiding your sister towards the lawyer degree too. And
yeah, man, that was like a great story. Like my grandma told me when I had got locked up maybe like 2 years, 3 years in. I don't know, my little sister, she was like 6, 7 or something. My grandma said, Jad told her, she was like, when I grow up, grandma, I'm gonna be a lawyer. Then I'm gonna become a judge. And I'm gonna bring my brother home. But the Lord brought me home, you heard me? But I got to see my sister still stayed on that path. She just graduated school. I got to watch it, you know what I'm saying? She might not want to be a judge now. She finna run.
Now, what about yourself? What about yourself with the education? I read you were pursuing a degree as well.
You know, we started the nonprofit, man, and it was taking a little while to come along. You know, people, you know, when you start something, people like, man, that ain't gonna do nothing. I done did it, but I was getting laid off a lot, man. People ain't want to hire me, you know, especially when they find out I was locked, you know, what kind of charge I had.
Sure.
Getting laid off, get fired, you know. So I was like, man, I'm gonna go get me a trade, you know what I'm saying? So I went to junior college, got me a trade in carpentry, and was like, man, I'm gonna work this trade move, you know what I'm saying, till other things come out and try to start my own business, you feel me? Started doing stucco with some guys. Like I said, I got a whole carpentry trade. But then Strong Arm Jackson kind of took off and it's like my main job. So money went there. I got a focus group with 18 to 25 in the daytime and get them stood up, get them to their job.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Afternoon. In the afternoon, I got 17 to 13-year-olds, and they come and we do mentoring sessions, go out to eat, you know, so it's taking little trips and stuff.
Now, how do they find their way to you? How do those people get involved? And like, what are the qualifications for them to be part of this?
Let me hear you.
What are the qualifications for these people to be part of what you're doing? Like, how do they find you?
So look, the real focus right now is all impact kids. You hear me? So the kids that we focus with in the afternoon, the kids in the day, they adults and young adults in the daytime. They've been incarcerated before. The kids in the afternoon, they get referred. They come home from a juvenile center, you know what I'm saying? They get referred to us. You feel me? So we're trying to love on them and trying to get them out that path for, you know, they make a major mistake. You feel me? And then in the afternoon, we go and do sessions with the kids who locked up in the detention center right now. You know, I'm trying to help them if they got to go to prison. I'm personally going to be trying to help you about your case and, you know, getting you equipped with what you need to know about the legal system. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, a lot of times you be made an adult mistake and now you trapped in the system. You don't know nothing about you, a real kid. You feel me? And this legal system, they don't care nothing about that. They'll take you down through there. They just want your life. They're just trying to, you know, complete a job. It ain't about you no more. You feel me? So I'm trying to be down there and be active and try to educate them on what they need to know about the criminal system, you know what I'm saying, and all that. And then also, if they touch down, they can come be a part of what we got going on out of here in the world and see. And we do a lot of community service with them, you know what I'm saying? But we pay them to do it, but we just want to get them active and learn how to help older people in the community, you know, how to serve people, you know, be humble. Some stuff we would, you know, we learned when we was young.
You sound like a disciple, bro. I think that's your real title. You a disciple, man. You're good. You're good.
We got a question too for you, man, from our man Miguel. Miguel does a lot of community work, street work. He's an incredible dude. I've been through his program and his former program multiple times, doing something very similar. Sort of my background as well when I got into education. Obviously with a different pathway, but the same idea. Says Terun, we have youth who are as bold as waving their guns on Facebook. Some are most likely watching the show. What words of wisdom can you share for those who are just feeling comfortable in handling a legal firearm?
Hey, I've been trying to get people to see, like, you know, we got to stop hating each other, man, because when we carrying them guns around, we're really hunting our own people. Got to act ourselves, what in us make us hunt our own people, or hate our own people so much. I be trying to encourage my guys. I be trying to encourage my guys out here to put the guns down too. But I know it be already stuff that happened already. We got to come to a point where, man, we got to let a lot of things we got to let go, man. I know a lot of time we lose people and be some pain behind that. But we got to learn to heal from that, man, and move on. And we got to get over that because we just continue in the cycle. I was telling the guys in the tent center today, man, we went from back in the day holding hands, singing about love and unity, and now we just sing about murdering each other. You feel?
Right,
Yeah, bro.
For real.
Sounds like some real unity and reunion type stuff. Because I know we have a reunion on this live about to happen. Kind of, my man LD sitting in the backdrop.
Yeah, man. I don't see LD's picture, so I wasn't sure.
He ain't there yet.
Well, he's there, but you know,
okay.
it's like I can see the people who are back there, so I wasn't sure if you wanted me to bring them up. LD, hit us in the comments if you want us to bring you up in the private chat there, man. We'll bring you in if you want us to throw you in, but I don't want to put you on blast.
Practicing with a samurai sword.
Absolutely,
the samurai sword out.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes, sir. But Miguel was saying in his thing there, Miguel was saying UTEC, that's the name of the organization that I was talking about. It's in Lowell, Massachusetts, where I'm from. It says UTEC should bring him to talk to the youth, and they do something similar there too. He's moved on, but his partner's there, and he's director there. I don't want to misquote titles and everything, but Preacher Rhymes is at that spot now too, and most of the students there are gang involved. They've dropped out of school. They've had truancy issues, those kind of things. And they've put them to work. Most of them, I believe at one point, they were refurbishing mattresses and, you know, they're working at a factory and reselling those. And I believe it was in the $15 an hour range as well for them. You know, they were doing like productive work and learning the trade, as you said. And that certainly makes a big difference. Some of them in culinary arts, all kinds of things that they're doing there. So
they're showing them how to, you know, be on business, like, you know, selling dope, robbing, that ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That ain't the only trade out here. You feel me? Like, there's other options out here. You can get a bankroll doing some legal stuff, and you ain't got to be with less rich, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. LD hit us over here. He's like, he said, come on. So he's,
you go, and I missed the comment. Miguel said, he said, plus y'all got skills. This is pride that we bring, you know, T up. He said, plus y'all got skills, i.e. pro winning this year's annual Pound the Mic Poetry Slam in the Valley.
Yeah, man. Come on now. We don't. I appreciate the love, but it's all about my man Terun right here, man. So speaking of which, let's bring in LD, see if we can get him in here. LD, you in there?
What's good?
Hey, man.
There.
What's good? I know one day I'm gonna get on this thing with a proper background and a proper camera.
Absolutely.
One of these days where I'm still not running around at 8, 9 o'clock while y'all doing this show, man. But
no, it's all good. It's like Ghostface when he still had the mask on, man. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
LD he's on the go. He's like this. You know, I love it.
Terun, man. That's my brother, man. I'm just so happy for him. That's all I can say. Me and this dude skip school every day. We went to every other school but the one we were supposed to be at. We was listening to Tupac, All Eyes on Me, Notorious Big, Life After Death, and Puffy, No Way Out. And we would just go to different schools and just walk the halls and try to find girls to talk to. That's all we did. We went to Mazio's every day. We ate free. We weren't paying for nothing. I mean, it was just live and in living color, man. And that's what we did. And one thing about this dude, man, when he went in, he looks the same when he came out as when he went in. That's the first thing. Looks exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Got one little patch of gray hair on the bottom of his chin. That's it.
You're on blast now.
And but for somebody that was facing what he was facing, and like he said in the story, I don't know if people saw it, but time in Mississippi is different from just about anywhere else in the United States. It's probably some of the, I don't want to make it sound sweet, but it's some of the easiest time that you're going to do in the prison life because we have access. Yeah, you got access to phones. He had a phone just about the whole time. I mean, we could just communicate every day. I could call him and he would just pick up like it was normal. Like, hey, what's up? Like,
That's crazy.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's foreign to us up here in Massachusetts.
yeah,
It's not how
yeah.
it works. Yeah.
But that whole time I would call him and I was free and he was not. And there was never a time when I called him or he called me that he was not in good spirits. He was always happy. He was always positive, always upbeat. He was never down, ever. I don't remember one time.
Wow.
And I just had to take my hat off, man, and just stand behind him at some point because, I don't know if I could have done the same thing. So,
Right.
that's my guy, man. I'm just happy for him to be home. We always were intentional on him coming home, but he was the leader of that.
That's
so
incredible.
Yeah.
it really is. And his grandma, his grandma, his mom, his aunt, I know all of them. God bless grandma. Grandma passed recently, but she's still here. Obviously, no one ever really dies, and I'm just happy for his family. His sister, his sister was a baby when I went in. He used to babysit her, and she would go everywhere that we went in tow. She would go to the mall with us. She would go to these different folks' high schools that she wasn't even in school yet. I mean, it was just an amazing friendship, man. And like when somebody's your homie, man, that's your homie for life, and that's my homie.
That's dope, man.
No doubt.
Beautifully said, man.
Yeah, man. That's LD, Freedom Corner brand right there for people who don't know. That's the backbone to that whole area, man. And Freedom Corner, what you guys are doing for I know, what your movement is about and what y'all are doing for that whole area. And you seem two like-minded people, in terms of trying to uplift your own area, which is admirable and it's that God's work, man.
For sure.
Most definitely.
Miguel just chimed in. He said in Walpole's prison out in Massachusetts. In Walpole, I had to visit my brother and shout out a hole mostly covered so no one can pass things through via a huge glass wall, and we can barely hear each other as we talked as we bent down. So having a phone is definitely foreign. Yeah, for real. I mean, we were talking about that before you came on, man, before we went live. It's just, yeah, I mean, not to mention social media. Yeah, so that's crazy too.
Yeah, when he went in, it was a totally different thing. We both had totally a different mindset, 100%, and we used to do things that maybe would be appropriate for a later show or a book or a movie. I don't want to get into all that because it's so much, but like it's a lot of branches to that tree, a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, he was talking about 23-and-1 kind of situation, and even that seems like cruel and unusual punishment. You know what I'm saying? Like, let alone the time that you have to do. It's like, how can that be healthy for a human? I've always my issue with prison and prison reform and so far since as long as I can remember, I'm like, how can we actually believe that a prison can do two things at the same time? Either you're of the belief that it is to correct through punishment, which is what most people think, like, hey, here's your punishment, we're gonna put you over here and you're gonna do your time. Or it's you think about it, it's reform, right? Is like when we talk about corrections, you're talking about reforming, and it's you get into these places now, people they're a little bit more understanding about restorative justice and so forth. But when you think about for an individual, how do you put a person inside of the prison system that we know with the many ills and trappings that it has, and actually think you have a strong chance of rehabilitating people when you're doing things like 23-and-1, and or putting people in the hole? And like, that's cruel and unjust kind of punishment where you're teaching people, to be resentful, that can't come out with the necessary skills that they need. So how are we reforming people when we're basically, in the modern day, cracking the whip? You know what I'm saying? And to people that are of melanated people in this day and age, for the majority, it just seems like a hypocrisy to say that we think throwing people and incarcerating them strictly by the punishment method is actually going to do anything for the reform method.
And he said, America, hypocrites.
Right. Absolutely.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, it's like, what, can you imagine sending your kids to that, you know, like go to college, and you're like, yeah, I got a great place. Well, I'm going to send them to prison. And of course, that's like ludicrous. We wouldn't say that, but it's like we are trying to say that Correctional Institute is actually going to be correcting the action. Is it just strictly because, yo, I don't ever want to come here again? You know, like that there's two mindsets. Even like education, educators will talk about, you know, sort of theories of reform, meaning or teaching is like there's reward and there's punishment. You know what I'm saying? And the people that go the punishment route, that have gone their whole lives, like, yo, I'm gonna be strict, I'm gonna beat my kids, I'm gonna smack them in the mouth whenever they speak. That's all good. You can get people to do what you want to do that way, but they're resentful, and then they don't want to talk to you again. They're screwed up for life. They're traumatic. You know, they go through trauma or whatever. So it's like, is it strictly, you know, smacking people over the head is what we think will actually, you know, make the most impact? Is there some balance? And how do you do it with 23-in-1 systems? I don't understand that, you know? So.
Yeah. And something different, you know, we were talking about, my best friend was just showing me a text. My wife sitting here with me, and she, a couple of years ago, you know, they moved to run all around the state, satellites, you know, all around. It was hard for me to come visit them a lot of times. And one of the reasons, what'd you say? What'd you say, bro?
I ain't go to no satellites, but I moved around a lot.
Oh, okay. But one of the reasons why I couldn't go see him was one of our other homies went to go see him before me, and I think they got caught in the meeting room.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Terun was trying to get the newest J's, the freshest J's. My boy, you know, our homeboy Nato had brought him down the new Jordans, and they got caught trying to swap them out, and so everybody got blacklisted. Like nobody could come and visit them unless they were blood family. And that kept me from seeing him for a long time. And I did end up seeing him. I went with his mom to go visit him when he was a few hours away, close to Natchez, close to Louisiana. But he was in what you do, cuz you did a good little bit of time in Parchman. And Parchman is maybe the most notorious prison in Mississippi. It's a prison set on a plantation, is what it is. And 2 years ago, we had a big deal in Jackson with prison reform, and that was the one that Jay-Z and T.I. and Meek Mill and all were involved in as Parchman. And it's not, you know, I don't mean to make it sound sweet, like it's just they laid up with their feet on the feet propped up and on their cell phones and chewing double mint, spearmint, you know, like that. It was, you know, it's folks getting hacked up, you know, it's folks getting killed every day. You know, and just because it's easy for us, that means that there's not a heavy CO presence and they don't have a lot of control.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we don't control it, the CO's not controlling it, then you know who in control, and then you know what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. The old adage,
you
right
know,
there.
It's so key what you're doing, Terun, man. Like, you know, keep that. I'm excited, man. You know, keep getting you plugged in and learning more about what you do and trying to get involved with it. And like, you know, I get inspired by what I read today about what you're doing. Strong arms with Jackson, man. That's
appreciate it. Hey, we spoke at that rally, you know, and that's what we were speaking on, the need for laws, the need for better conditions in prison. You know, when you got a lot of time, you don't be allowed to take classes and you don't be allowed to participate and stuff, you know, to better yourself. And you do get an opportunity to come home, you ain't ready, you don't have your ID, you don't have a lot of things you got to go through. Now everybody want to focus on reentry, but you want to focus on reentry just like you were saying earlier with the people who stuck on locking folks up. You know, they ain't caring about what a person need when he come back or how he need. You know, if he don't have no support system, how he come home and get frustrated and get back right back into something. You know what I'm saying? Because what's there? You know, we in survival mode, and we just, you know, we're down here in Mississippi, the prison conditions rough. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, man, they was killing each other, man, left and right at one time. And that's stressful, man. You know, that's stressful on people's loved ones too. You know, to be worried about their children, you know, not coming home, and then to lose their children in prison where, you know, like Little Baby said on the song, where you're supposed to be safe at. You feel like brought you there to correct you. You know what I'm saying? You end up getting killed there. You ain't even got a life sentence. You end up dying in prison. You know, and that's because it's a rough condition. You know what I'm saying? The water mess, all the things that go on. Rodents infested. You know what I'm saying? Like all the things that go on with that, plus everybody in foul mood, take the hope out of a place, and then what you think gonna happen?
Yep.
Right. No hope. That's the worst.
That's the worst. That's the worst to be in with no hope, or where people ain't got hope. We've been working with people trying to get them to like they got a new commission. They say they're gonna do some different things. You know what I'm saying? Say they're gonna work on reentry, but they be saying, like I say, the more I'm out here, the more things we're gonna learn, the more things we just gonna put into action, and then maybe everybody will just follow suit, looking for whatever. But we're gonna be active. Strong Arms of Jackson People's Advocacy Institute. They've been active. We're gonna be active out here in the community, trying to change out here in Jackson, and just trying to be a blessing. And my main thing and my whole focus is, man, helping our young people reach their full potential, not waste their potential. Trying to fit in.
That's what we were going to ask you too before you have to jump. Is what is on the horizon for you? Is there a game plan? I think you just kind of said it there, but is there anything else that you're working on that you wanted to shout out or speak on?
So our next move is to get a center. So we got keys to the gym, so that'll be a gym that we use, but we need our own center because like here is not a lot of activities for the youth to do. You know what I'm saying? So we want to we can furnish and put things in there, activities that'll draw youth in and make them feel comfortable, like it's their space. Because here, when you don't have nothing for them to do, they gonna try to get into grown people things, and that's when it start. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff that don't go on around here that need to, a lot of resources missing, and that cause a lot of stuff to happen. So that's our project right now. I already know the Lord be ordering the stuff, just lining up. We just gonna walk.
I can throw your IG in the chat, right? There's people asking how to get in contact with you. I think Miguel and Preacher, man, you got some similar stories with Preacher Rhymes and some similar background to what you're trying to do with Miguel and both Preacher do now. Is it cool to throw that in the chat?
What you say?
Is it cool to throw that Marshawn account in the chat?
Oh yeah,
IG. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And you can they can follow us on peopleadvocacyinstitute.com. That's our website. You can click the link about Credible Messenger, scroll down, you'll see me on there. It talk about SAJ on there. We on Facebook at People's Advocacy Institute, and we Strong Arms of Jackson.
Okay, I'm adding all that in there. So I put the Instagram is in the chat. I typed in peopleadvocacyinstitute.com. I think you guys can see on the screen right there, Strong Arms of Jackson. He spells it JXN. So that's definitely how to get in touch. And you can always hit us up too. We'll put you back in contact either through LD or Terun. Terun, man. Yo, this is a crazy story. We're glad we can just kind of help people, get your message out and all the good stuff you're up to and what you're doing.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you invited me on, man, and for the opportunity to spread the word and the platform to reach other people and people get involved and get active in their community, man, because a lot of communities around the country facing a lot of the same issues, man. So we're about man, and trying to do our part.
Yeah, man. Well, when ProQuo was down in Jackson, maybe working on one of these videos we've been talking about, we'll have to see you and maybe get a cameo.
Oh,
right. Facts.
Jackson, holler at me now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We definitely gonna be there at some point, bro.
All right.
But yeah, man. Look, thank you again for coming on. We're definitely appreciative to have you on here as well to share that story and inspire. And I like kind of seeing into the future a little bit in my own little weird way. And when I see something like what you're doing, and I find like meaning in my life, how I could help impact, it's motivational, man. It's more fuel in the engine, So definitely keep doing what you're doing. I'm excited to see all these updates and stay plugged in with you, man.
Yeah, man. We got we'll put you out in the back if you're there for a few minutes or whatever. You can take some maybe some more questions, or we'll cipher them through to you. But we know that you might have to jump too. But Jay was talking to me about playing a joint, and I think we will play it once we send you back there. We're gonna play a joint that I think you'll appreciate off our album. And I think it'll resonate.
All right, cool.
All right, my man. Appreciate it.
So,
Yeah,
Yo.
man.
LD, man. You still there, Mr. Shadow Man?
I'm here, brother.
Yo.
Hey, man. Good look on that right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have him on our podcast next. It's gonna be called Ballhead Dread Show.
Okay.
So we'll come back and we'll touch on some of the key points too. Is like I said, it's a lot more there. Actually did our first one last night, our first interview with David Collins, the guy I was talking to y'all about. It's got the book out, No More Harlem. So that's
no
in the
doubt.
works too, man. Another hip hop citizen joint.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Facts. We talked about that too. This is gonna be
hiphopcitizen.com
gonna be getting some really cool stuff coming their way.
Yeah, man. Let's run that grandma story while we get to run the back, man.
Yeah.
I think you would appreciate that. We're gonna run this, give ourselves a chance to stretch our neck and think about some things, man. We're gonna run this, and LD, if you can hang out, man, we'll be here. But if you gotta go, we understand. But if you can hang out, we'll be back on the other side in a few minutes.
All right, for sure.
All right.
Cool, man.
We're gonna run that Freedom Corner brand.
Woo! Look how nice that looks, man.
ProQuo, Professor Lyrical, and J. Quo King. We're gonna play for them this track right here called Grandma Stories.
Produced by Mitchell Drix. Well, actually, it was Preet Rosso, I believe.
Oops, sorry. I'm giving them samples of things I shouldn't give them. So hold on. They're getting a slow walkthrough. They're getting a slow walkthrough. I haven't been able to. I haven't figured out a way to jump to the tracks other than hitting the fast forward. So here we go. Grandma Stories.
Oh, grandma. My grandmother's. You're lucky if you get to. Ayaya's, Nana, Meme, yeah. Oh, grandma, I love you. Remember, I called you. These memories we talk through remind me she will always be. Grandma, I love you. Remember, I saw you. These memories we walk through remind me she will always be. A grandmother that's a blessing through the afterlife. After your mom, if you're lucky enough to have a wife. There's several women and my brothers if you haven't seen. When they older, sit them down, tell them have a seat. Leave them the lineage, write it down, finish it. What you remember is forever, don't diminish it. Bear witness and provide that testimony. Rest of the stories being written, give them all the glory. The allegories be the same for our children's kid. My mom's parents' first household where I live. As a kid, spent the bulk of my time there. My own room upstairs is the high chair. My great-grandmother brought her home, died there. Out them projects from Lawrence, Mass, no timeshare. How mine fared, Dorothy Jajopolis. Died at 75, throat cancer and esophagus. The whole topic is still hard to write down. Nearly 20 years ago, still feels like right now. I lie down every night and you're still there. Grandpa, he misses you, he sits in your chair, yeah. And I'm right there, sitting in the kitchen with him, sitting, listen, wish it was real, but he's no longer living either. Little Peter and Greek, he caught me paniotic, so I love going to sleep, still see them always. No concealing what I'm feeling inside. Cry myself to sleep daily since my grandmother died. Yeah, no concealing what I'm feeling inside. Cry myself to sleep daily since my grandmother died. Oh, grandma, I love you. Remember, I called you. These memories we talk through remind me she will always be. Grandma, I love you. Remember, I saw you. These memories we walk through remind me she will always be.
Yo, she saw me and she said she see my pops. Different eras, same mistakes, but understand the cost. Homies hold me down, so the violence only shots. Curb my tongue for this rhyme, so nanny hear me understand my thoughts. Born in blood, wipe it clean, trying to be the boss. Learn to love we above what we see and not. and it never stops. Taught by a legend, raised by a lot of women. Fought through depression, no pills, my mental's living. Locked in these bills, keep it real, I'm on a selling. Want a pad in the swing set before she see 11. But the bag and the tags like the worst type of weapon. These phones and these clones only looking for a mention. I came from attention, long lives pay attention. Off the islands, true lies, no affection. When you start to dream big, you probably need the most protection. The father figure in my real life, about to translate twice. Luckily, my man's right. The two wrongs took me down, that's the A of light. I felt the force, see the signs coming every night. Always down to fight. Salute the circle, now we keep it tight. Producing virtue, keep it real, mama. Raise me right.
Grandma, I love you. Remember, I called you. These memories we talk through remind me she will always be your grandma. I love you. Remember, I saw you. These memories we walk through remind me she will always be your grandma. I love you. Remember, I called you. These memories we talk through remind me she will always be your grandma. I love you. Remember, I saw you. These memories we walk through remind me she'll always be.
Grandma, hello, Grandma. I love you, Mama JJ.
No concealing what I'm feeling inside.
Mama JJ, I love you. Remember, I saw you. These memories we walk through remind me she'll always be.
Grandma's story.
Shout out Young Lord Port. And Fly, what's up, my brother?
Yo.
Yeah, we got a lot of Mississippi up in the building tonight.
A whole lot of Jackson.
Yeah.
Mississippi in the building, man.
Yes, sir.
I told LD the other day I seen this sorry Miss Jackson license plate, but it was dope. It was they were from Jackson and they had Jackson, Mississippi, so it said Jackson on the bottom. I guess that's how you do your plates there. And so it said, "I'm sorry, Ms." on the license plate. And so I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson. Yeah, it was fly. Yeah, it was real fly. You got to look for that one. We got to get him on the show. Take a picture of that. Send it to us. Be like,
if I find it, I'm sending it to you, B.
Yeah, thanks, Tree. That was Jay was shouting out my son, but he didn't shout out. That was my son singing on the end, but he didn't shout out his own daughters. So they were his lady, my lady was on there. So we had the whole family on that track.
Yeah,
and you know who engineered that track? Who engineered that track?
Some guy, man. Was it me?
I think that was Jay Cruz, and that was a project. That was a project.
That was a project.
That's a lot of audio clips, man, to make all that work.
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely,
man. It definitely took work, but it was well worth it because it's done.
There's a little tiny Preacher Rhyme writing credit on there too, in the you have to look for. Remember we were filling that out, Jay?
That's right. Yeah, Preacher Rhyme. Yes, sir.
Preacher Rhymes led some good advice in there too. That we said, you know what, we're gonna get, even though he wasn't writing a lyric or anything, we're gonna get some Preacher Rhymes in there because he had a very good idea about the beginning of the song, and we actually took his advice. We started the track with the hook. So
it would not have turned out the way it did if he did. That thing transformed like
I don't know what's going on. Speaking of transform.
Yeah, right. You got that going.
My walls going crazy.
So Fly. How was your week, man? What's up?
Listen, man. You know my week is always eventful, man. Just trying to stay focused, man. Stay on my grind too, man, with the music thing. So I'm prepping this week. Me and my son JP to do Fly Style Friday, the second episode. So we got something.
That first episode was real dope.
Yeah. So that was we were just warming up. Real talk. Yeah, we were just warming up on that one, and so he ready. I'm ready. We already recorded some stuff for Step It Up and the next project and all that. So that's just trying to stay busy. I have a virtual concert coming up June 26th.
What?
Ooh,
yeah,
I'm gonna jot that down. June 26th.
I'm putting that right in the chat there. June 26th. Fly. I'm not even putting the dots. I just put Fly concert because it works both ways. I don't even need the dots. That's just gonna be a Fly concert.
I like that.
So
Tell us.
Got to get some more details,
All right.
As far as, of course, I get all that to you guys too, man. So the people, the family know what's going on, man. And that's pretty much been my week, man. The eventful stuff. Being a full-time husband and father, man, it's a job all in itself.
I get it.
I got 5 kids, man.
Yeah, I don't get it like that, but I get it.
We don't get it like that, man. We can pool our kids and they don't come.
Yeah, exactly. 5. I salute you, King.
Yeah.
Yo, so guess what was great about that, Fly, is that
it's like the Waltons.
the 25th, as you already know, the 25th is a Friday, so that means we're gonna be plugging that 26th. Yeah,
I didn't even know that, honestly.
I just had to look it up. I had to look it up.
I believe the 25th is when Fee's coming on our show too. Fee's coming up. Shout out to Fee.
That is right. Yes. Yep. Shout out Fee. Yeah, that's going to be.
We're going to have my man Mad Soul coming up one of these weeks. For those of y'all who know Mad Soul, legendary producer. He's also rhyming on a new track with Ed O.G. So his all his new material he's rhyming on. He's traveled the world performing. He's a legendary producer. He's out in New York, but he's my man. I was on the phone with him today, so we're gonna have him through too. But yeah, man, we got to get Fly on promoting that a little more as we know more details. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm in the like Matrix or something.
You in the
Matrix? It kind of looks cool. Yeah,
I was actually about to say the same thing. It's actually kind of dope.
Yeah, I was digging it.
I'm a little jealous you getting side effects and everything.
Man, I can do some things, but I wasn't trying on that one.
Yeah,
man.
I can.
So what's the deal, man, with the project, man? Like, are y'all as excited as I am?
On our project?
Yes, absolutely. Man, absolutely.
Wait,
dog, we're very excited, man. I
listen to it every day, man.
You know what?
Free from the corner. Come on.
Let me tell you this, Fly, to tell you how excited we are. So it's like this. It's like we have started to send out press releases or whatever, a bunch of us working in unison to try to get that out there, right? And that's just the press release for the single. You know what I mean? The single comes out July 2nd and the video drops July 2nd. So we're excited about that. But then on the 16th of July, then the whole album drops. And so we trying to busy. Yeah, man.
I don't know if you could see this too well, but like, so this was when we started doing it yesterday, this page. It's just data about who I'm sending it to. And then it's just another couple more pages of sending the data. So people
that don't get it, like it's not just us, it's like we got a lot of people that are like kind of pitching in on the press thing, because we're not using a publicist as of yet. We're not. We are our own publicist. So it's stuff like this. Like little things like that we'll produce or make, you know what I mean? Like we got a little snippet we can probably show some people. That's the album cover. I mean, that's the single cover.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the single cover. That's the album. You know what I mean? That's the album. So it's there's a lot of artwork. I know sometimes some of it we shouldn't be showing, but there's there's banners. There's what I'm saying. We do all that. J. Crew.
It's a party, B. Do what you want to.
That's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. It's right.
You dig?
So yeah, it's all that stuff. See, let me give you one other thing too that you may not know about.
I'm taking notes, man. I'm really taking notes, man.
When they was telling me I wasn't nothing.
Should I show it?
When they was telling me I wasn't nothing. It's the show shot, make a metaphor drop. Hanging on to something since I grew up on the block. People take you down and break it down to what you got. Looking at your feet, calculations getting dropped. Listening to beats, you try to break up out the box. Losing lots of sleep cause we be doing what you not. Fueling all my heat, these winters cold up in the spot. Gassing all these sheets when I be speaking off a top.
You know what I mean?
Bro, that sounded crazy right there, by the way. That sounded crazy.
Little something.
That's dope. And listen, man. Look,
shout out to LD and Sin and the Orchard, man. That we get that back from them, so that was nice.
That's dope, bro. I like how the colors, the ambience of the artwork changed to his lyrics. That was super dope.
That was dope too. Yeah, we got one for the single too. They did a good job on the single one too.
Stop playing, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm taking notes, man. I got my mental pad. I got my regular pad here. I'm taking notes, man. Hey, of course, I'm a novice, man. I'm an amateur, man. And releasing
Well, nah,
albums
man.
and
It's
press
like
releases and doing
Yeah.
shows and all that. So I'm learning, man.
But I was in the same boat, you know, and that's what's cool, Flies. Like, you know, I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking notes every day because reality is, you know, Pro can be as humble as he wants, but he is the man, including the other people that we're working with, Sin, LD, and all that. But Pro, you know, just has that. I don't know, man. It's the Jedi sense, and I love it.
Jedi, man.
Yeah, so it's like, but what's great is that everybody on the team and in the unit is gonna be, we all on the same boat. You know what I'm saying? This is the arc. The arc.
The arc, B.
flip the drought.
That's it. Flip the drought.
Yeah, man.
know?
I was trying to let myself adjust over that. I like when I'm talking how my logo bounces. You know what I'm saying?
Is cool.
What
That
up?
is
What
really
up?
cool.
What up? You know,
What
watch
up,
this.
world?
Boom! Look at that. Bam! You know what I'm saying? It's,
Yeah, man.
So yeah,
But
man,
yeah,
I gotta
man.
step my game up, man. It'll be on me too, man. Heavy, man. Y'all just don't know, man. He be on me real heavy.
Well,
man.
you know what? I think he's here.
I believe it.
Are you?
I believe it.
LD, you still in there?
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, yeah. He be on me heavy, man, about you know, just the whole marketing and being visible and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, man. Hey, man,
Yeah,
this is
man.
both of y'all's show, man. This is y'all show as much as it's our show. So you always can, you know,
Facts.
you can use this visibility platform, whatever you can do, you know, whatever we can do to help, man. And you know, I would say between the two of y'all, the thing is, you know, this is a weird thing. I'm gonna say it like this. I got to talk about my Celtics for a second. I'm gonna use the Celtics as a
you can
segue.
do. Can you do that? Is that okay to do?
I can do that. Yeah.
Nah,
So
man, okay.
Fly got hit like last time. He got punched in the face.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stay on air, B. You know
Yeah. We had to remove you last time, but yeah. So it's all good. You know. So it's like this. It's like Celtics got a new head coach. Well, they don't. They lost their head coach, right? So Brad Stevens is no longer the head coach. He's now the GM. Danny Ainge retired, right? So a lot of people don't know that outside of Boston market. It really wasn't promoted that heavily. So that might be news for some people. And I say it like this. A lot of people get on pro teams. They get on pro teams when they don't win. Me, I actually don't care. Like, and I mean it 100%. Like, I'm the biggest Ray Allen fan who's ever lived. Like, I'm as big of a Ray Allen fan as I am a Big Daddy Kane fan. I've been following Ray Allen since he was in UConn. I think he's like the truth. I love him. I love his demeanor, his personality. I love his form. Everything about Ray Allen. Right? I'm a big Ray Allen fanboy. Right? Now, I don't care if they had Ray Allen on the team and they didn't win in 2008. Obviously, I wanted them to win. He comes here the first year with KG, him, and the truth, right? They win. It was crazy, unprecedented. They had 24 wins the year before, then like 65 or something like that the next year. Yeah. That was the biggest turnaround in NBA history. My point is this, though, and this is how it applies to us. I don't care if they didn't win because I'm happy supporting that team every night. Right. Now, the Celtics have some ugly fans. They've had some ugly players, as have a lot of Boston teams, right? And people ride or die for them, like, oh, I don't care, it's the Red Sox. Oh, if they're a bunch of, you know, people that you don't like and don't support, I'm not rolling with it. I mean, yeah, I support the team like philosophically. Yeah, I'm all the Boston sport teams, but it's like some teams I'm like not so much, and I'll speak out about it. But I would rather have on my team a team like Ray the next year and KG and the truth or whatever, all working towards that goal, even if they don't win. And people will be like, oh, they didn't win. You got to trade them. What? Nah, dog. Like sometimes it's about the quality of the people. And that's what I mean about y'all. It's like, personally, I don't care if our album sells 30,000 copies or 3,000 or 3. I like how we did it. I like the people we're doing with, and I like what we're about. End of story.
No, you know, the reality is it's the difference is that, you know, you got them people that play 1 season, 5 seasons, and then they hit the bleachers. And then some of them just exit the building.
Yeah.
We've been playing the game for decades.
Long time. Man.
And we ain't never gonna stop. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. You know, when that is the win that you're not at the bleachers and you're not exiting the building. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's real talk, man. And the quality too, man. Like you said, man, it's something about having quality people, man, around your circle, man. It gives validity to the process. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, I guess I can give a shameless plug. It may be a Nike commercial that was just kind of running about just the quality of things that's going on and not necessarily the result. But they was asking
Let me change
question.
Let me change it. Hold on. You know what's coming.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
so they had AD sitting there. They
What?
said they had AD sitting on the couch. It was somebody. I can't remember exactly who it was, but anyway, AD sitting on the couch playing the game. They was talking about Serena Williams and different people. And they kept talking about how people make it seem like their joy is the end result, right? But what they were really trying to promote was the process. Like, who said that joy was at the end? Who said that the joy was in the selling 3,000 albums? Or
Never.
30,000 albums, right? The joy is in the process of doing it with the right people.
That's right.
Putting your heart, your soul into it. That's the joy. You know what I'm saying? The process. And then whatever happens, happens.
So I make that argument. Like today, I posted a thing on. If you go to my page right now, some people watching this on my page, just scroll down. I have a post about Isaiah Thomas, and I'm like, "Yo, we're gonna be out guards. We're probably gonna trade Kemba Walker. You saw it. I know you in there."
Yeah.
And the thing is like, I don't care if dude is gonna be the greatest. Yo, put that dude on principle on the team and give him a shot. You know what I'm saying? Worst case, because his essence and everything he's about is the right thing, and it's like. I'd rather root for that dude and lose a bunch of games because maybe he can't play lockdown defense, but I'd like prove it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll take the L. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll take the L for the right reason. You know what I mean? I
wish the world worked like that, man. I wish the world worked like that. Unfortunately, man.
We're so results. We're all about results. Like it's the same in the classroom. Give me an A, man. If a kid got a C and had no idea what they were doing and they worked and they got a C, it's like like that's a massive achievement for some people, and it's other times like, no, we need to get, it has to be an A or die. And kids are like going crazy, killing themselves to certain students, you know what I'm saying? To be like,
no, I feel you. I feel you on that. My philosophy is this, which I'm like, I like to be an overachiever just for my own personal feelings, right? It's just who I am, right? But my philosophy when it comes to things like that is was a conversation I had the other day with a guy that's graduating with this MBA, and he was kind of down and out about it, man, because he was like last in his class.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but bro, it don't matter.
No,
you still got the same MBA that the person who graduated first in your class.
Yo, for real.
That's
I
right.
tell people that all the time. Yo, my undergrad, same thing. For me, like when I was in high school, I really wasn't that great in high school. I was like, I came out I was in a lot of accelerated and honors kind of courses.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the game. I didn't know that honors. So the way it worked in my high school was, if people can correct me if I'm wrong, I went to Chelmsford High, and it was times 2. If you were in an honors course, it was like weighted, like a times 2, and it was 1.5 for like an accelerated course, right? So you got like, that would be your grade. It was something to that effect, right? I think it was a 2 and a 1.5. And I'd see these people that were like getting like B's and they're like 4.0 GPAs and stuff like that. I'm like, how does this even work? I didn't even know the formula, And later on, I found out, they're gaming the system. They're in all the honors. So you can have like C's in an honor class and your GPA's through the roof, right? Compared to the people who were, getting like, B pluses in classes that weren't weighted. So my GPA was pretty high because I was in those classes, but it wasn't like really, really high. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a lot of B's and B minuses and C's. I was pretty much a B-ish student, right? But my school was like 500. Yeah, I mean, I had some A's, I had some D's, you know what I'm saying? But not many. But it was like I was writing rhymes all through high school, but I was intrigued enough to like kind of show up, and I didn't really skip school. I wasn't that person, maybe my senior year, but like for the most part, I was pretty much doing what I was supposed to do.
Right.
And that was good enough to be that. I was probably like, for my first year, I was probably 70th in my class out of like 525 or something. But I think I graduated probably in somewhere in the hundreds, maybe closer to 200. I don't remember. But my point is, when I went into college, I had like a low 2 because I didn't care. I was just like, let me rap. Let me not go to class when I don't have to. Like, let me figure out the game, right? Like, I'll show up for the test. I'll get an A when it comes to the test if it was like a math or a business course or whatever. And let me do the minimum, not because I'm a slacker, because I'm totally not. Just because I got to do a lion's share of this music work over here, and plus work and doing all that stuff. So for me, my GPA, was crappy. It was near the bottom. But I graduated in 4 years with a bachelor's degree that launched the ability for me to get a master's with a 3 something, and then get my doctorate with a 3.94, or you know what I'm saying? So it was like later on when it's time to be schoolboy, you put in that time, but sometimes, it doesn't, I guess what I'm saying is like the grade it's not indicative all the time of what you did and what you learned, it's game in the system a lot of times.
If you walk your path and you are miserable, stressed out, upset, when you get to the end of that result, you're going to be miserable, stressed out, unhappy, right? Versus practicing. Now, of course, in life, we have to battle these challenges, but the more you can stay positive, uplifted, the complete opposite of everything that you are not trying to be, because I can't understand how people want to even be miserable, but that's their prerogative, right? That's how you stay positive. When you get your result, you get your goal, you're probably going to be positive, and be happy about it because you were in the now, in the process. Like you were saying, that process is beautiful.
The process is
and it's cool. Like for us, we're documenting this process, day to day. We're touching base with each other. We're doing our show, talking about the week, catching up. So this is just another level of like, see, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
See the postal worker that transformed into where he was trying to go. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that is how I see it.
The process. So how do you feel people create that balance? I mean, because I guess you want those wins, right? In life, you want those wins. And then as well, you want those quality moments, right? Where it's not about the result. How do you balance that as a professional and as an individual?
Most challenging thing ever.
I know my formula might be a little different than Jay's, but mine is valleys and peaks, man. It's like the whole game is valleys and peaks. Everything in the music industry is valleys and peaks. It's never all up. It's never all down. And Jay talks about me all the time. He says like Jedi or whatever. What I the part of that I like happily accept is sort of the sense for when is an up and a down. You know what I mean? And like. I definitely like when other people are sleeping, I get off on doing my work. You know what I mean? Like someone's like, oh, that old adage, like I'm in the gym while you're sleeping kind of thing. I love that. And so like, if it can be, I got never ending energy, which is just crazy. It's just how I've been wired. Right. So I love that. Someone will go to sleep and I'll be like, yeah, let me write a few 16s and like send out a few press releases. You know what I mean? Like, and while I know that's a valley for someone else, I'll be like, that'll be my peak, and I'll get excited by it. But then observing the landscape and go, okay, what like when I was going for my master's, I was talking about this before. It was like, it was 2006, 7 in that time slot. I finally got it in 2009. Right. And so, but I was doing like 1-2 classes max at a time, so it was mad slow, but I knew that was a valley for me because I put in all this work to do. 2005, my album came out, my single came out in 2006. I was throwing an award show and I was like, if I can get to the award show, then, if I can just get to there and make it out alive, then I can start this education thing. Cause I knew, and I knew it. And then I'd be like, riding the education thing. And I'm like, now I got to put in a ton more energy to get more of the music back. And then I did a thing with Robbie Rowland by 2008, put out another album, and it was like, let me ride this, But then I had to go for a doctorate, got married, had a baby, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out the timing of it. And I'm like sensing when is the valley and the peak in terms of my career. And I'm like, I dropped my album in 2013 and wrote a book the whole time. Like I was like, I'm not going to have time to necessarily make the music, but I am going to have time to write this chapter in this book. You know what I'm saying? So I started writing the book in the valley, but then that becomes a peak, and then you ride that, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's always been that valleys and peaks, man.
I'll tell you like this. In my understanding in life, this right here, right? It's usually only bad in one sense, like on a heart monitor, right? That's the only time you really don't want to see that. But in life, this is the answer. And this can look as balance, but what it is just controlling your emotions, your heartbeat, your pulse, right? So
Brad Stevens,
I could be like, yo, what's up? But guess what? However I'm presenting myself, I'm always trying to be on that line.
Yeah.
Emotionally, my heart rate, my soul communication stays right there. You can't, because to me, see, pros, like he said, is different. Because for me, riding a peak in a valley is not really good for me. You know, I've learned that in my life from my experience, the way I handle things. But riding that even keel, staying on that flat line of emotion is what's helped me balance and force positivity to win, because now I'm not getting that low, and we want positive. So when you stay there, positive wins. You know, I go to work every day, and I work with a bunch of people that get out of work real early, and we go, you know, so for 7:30 to 2 o'clock in my job doing what I do is a long day.
Those are high school hours. It's high school teacher hours. Yeah.
I'm blessed. I get done. I'm done at 11:30, done sometimes earlier, sometimes a little later. But you know, I have people in the building that may be frustrated about that, and they get angry and upset. They're cussing. They're like mad that they got to work till 1:30. And I'm like, bro, you need to, you know, this is a reality check to all this. Like, think about what you're telling me and think about why you're cussing and why you're upset, why you're so mad right now about your job that you're getting paid for, that you ain't working until 1:30 only. Like, you know, it's like the what is it? The comparison, the relativity of the relativity of it all. It's relative because the people that I may be talking about, this is their whole life. They never experienced another job. Me, I've experienced jobs where I'm like, yo, I'm working like, you know, 12-hour
like
days.
Now it's like the best job you ever had.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna be here 10 years and I ain't gonna complain one bit, because I will never forget what the worst is. And then I say, you know what, if you don't know what the worst is, imagine yourself getting shot at in war.
Yeah.
And you're dodging bullets. That sucks. You don't want to be in that situation. That's the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Not the fact that you got.
I used to work
20, you know.
I used to work piecemeal. I didn't even know what the word meant until I did it. Cleaning gerbil cages, shoveling out their poop.
Oh wow!
With a big shovel. With my man Fee, we both did it. Yeah, dog. We worked at Elm Hill Breeding Laboratory. And I worked there for like 2 weeks,
bro.
I left them a note. I said, sorry, I just signed a record deal. I can no longer work. And it was kind of true. It wasn't a big one, but it was like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know what I signed up for. And it was like, dude, I was shoveling it. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, if you could do a 16, it wasn't bars. You could do 16, a cage of 16. It was like, that was like your big pay with like $50 to do 16, right? And I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna do these 3 racks. I'm gonna get 150. But you could do it. You could do it. And you would smell the worst you've ever smelled in the most disgusting job ever. And you'd be done in, you know, like 4 hours, making $150 in like 4 hours. Now I ask you, would you shovel it to make $150? I think a lot of people's answer actually is yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
probably, yeah. I mean, in German, it probably just looked like, you know, Fruity Pebbles or something, man.
But it didn't smell like Fruity Pebbles. It didn't smell like it, man. So to Jay's point, I was like, I am never doing that. Yo, that actually motivated me, man. I was like, I'm never doing anything like this. This is grunt work. I'm getting, you know, I'm like, whatever I got to do.
And that's a differential.
Business, get my degree.
Like, some people are money motivated. Some people, the motivation is a funny thing. Inspiration is a funny thing.
I was non-poop motivated.
Yeah, hey, you ain't trying to do that. Like, I think, you know, what if I was a trash man or something? And then I'm like looking at the trash man that's actually doing it for a career. They get paid well. But I mean, hey, someone got to do the trash, and these guys are built for
it, bro.
Yo, you want to go one for one? We should go around and see who's done the worst jobs ever. Like, no one's beating that, first of all. But if you want to go, like, you want to go around the circle here and be like, yo, I see you and I raise you. Like, let me start out. Like, I worked at Demoulas bagging groceries. What do you got?
I definitely bagged groceries, bro. I did the grocery gig.
All right. I shoveled poop at Breed Hill. What do you got? Elm Hill? What do you got, Jay? What do you got for us, man?
I got a handful, but I'd say like probably Burger King.
Burger King. All right. I got Paper Route. Did the Paper Route.
Oh, my bad. No. Hold on a minute. Let me take that back.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the unofficial sponsor. Hold on, we gotta keep this.
I am definitely gonna take that back. As soon as I said that, I said, you know what? Actually, no. I moved to Virginia, right, and looking for work, and I go through these temp agencies or whatever. And mind you, I'm very prideful, and I will I've never really quit. I never quit a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? I never got fired. And I walked into this joint that was a chrome wheel inspection center, right? And it was lines. Exactly. And you sat there for 8 to 10 hours. You would have one person next to you, and then on the
I
other
would have
side,
died, bro.
one rim, and you got a piece of chalk, and you're looking for defects, and you just circle. The most mindless, like I was going crazy.
Right?
I lasted
right there.
3 hours.
Wheel inspection center.
I was there for 3 hours. I called my girl. I'm like, yo, you need to pick me up right now because I ain't doing this. I was like losing I was losing it after 3 hours. The same thing. And I'm like, yo, these people been doing like how long you been doing?
I couldn't.
You chopped that fly? What do you got?
So I worked my very first job was at an 88-cent store, right? It was like a trinket store. Oh yeah, I hated it. It was a trinket store. It was an 88-cent store, and so I was like a stock boy. I was really like a utility boy. Right? I was probably like 15, right? And I worked for this guy named Muhammad. Now I did get paid cash every day, right? This is not fly at all. And so
you see what I wrote.
like it was an 88-cent store, man. And these trinkets.
Oh, trinkets, not tickets.
Yeah, they were trinkets, bro.
What's a
and
trinket
so
exactly?
Every day, just a bunch of very small junk, right?
All the stuff.
But it was
stuff you put in a birthday grab bag for 4-year-olds.
Right, but it was a store full of this junk. Don't you know? Every day I went in after school, I had to reorganize and stock every little piece, every single day, bro.
Let me tell you what.
I hated that job, and Muhammad didn't bathe. And it's because of what he believed. He was it was a practice of his, right?
That's tough.
Yeah.
Man,
that's tough.
No deodorant either. Like
you want to be
natural.
respectful of people's culture and beliefs, but if you stink, dog.
Yeah. Come on, open the door.
Yeah.
And this is in Mississippi.
Yeah,
but it's hot all the time. Yo, sweat. This dude just sweaty.
I just moved here from Chicago.
I think LD wants to chime in on one of these. He's listening quietly. He's like, yeah, man, I got you. I see you when I raise you.
Man, you guys, every time Fly joins, man, it's like, okay, here we go.
Yo, no, I worked for Lowell Cab, right? I drove a cab immediately preceding when I was the manager of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So I was the manager of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. This is after I had my college degree, right? So I got a college degree working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car so we could take the cars to New York City and record, right? And when I stopped that job, I'm thinking of transitioning into teaching, right? But I don't really have any money coming in like that. And I'm like, you know what? It's the off season because school, only is seasonal. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna drive a cab because I was like, what am I good at? Oh, I'm driving cars. Like I work at the rent-a-car place. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'll do the cab. So I worked for the cab company, and it was like a gypsy kind of cab company. Like there's a lot more I could say, but I couldn't say it on the show about some of the transportation that we were doing and some of the things that we were transporting. But it was crazy, man. It was like, and I worked like the day shift. I'd work the day shift, and then on weekends I'd work the night shift because everybody could work the night shift. Yo, in Lowell, where I'm from, the night shift, you don't really want to drive the cab on the night shift. I'm just saying. But I went from that to substitute teacher to high school teacher, all while doing the rapping. So I'm rapping, but I'm driving the cab. You know what I'm saying? So people are like, yo, aren't you the rapper who's get the I was like, at that time I was like, nah, that ain't me. I was like, you got me confused, man. I was like, nah, I was like, I got your record. Nah, you got someone else's record.
Tree said 10 years old pizza boxes for 3 cents each.
Ooh, folding them?
Yeah, that's what that sounds like.
I folded pizza boxes for Domino's, man. Who did Domino's? Anyone deliver? You got
Well, I mean, DoorDash.
Well, you delivered. Yeah, you just you DoorDash. Yeah. But that's different.
I'll tell you what. We'll switch it.
That's a private independent operator.
Yeah, right. Well, my favorite job, kind of flipping that coin, was when I went, city boy coming to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Living here for, I was probably like 4 years deep, 5 years deep. And I have, relatives from Canada. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let me try some farming stuff. There's a lot of farming. So anyway, I get a job working at this little bootleg farm. And it was fun.
Not gonna go well.
I had the shepherd staff and everything, man.
Oh my God, I would kill for a photo of that.
Yo, me too. I
You had
wish I
sheep?
would. Yo, sheep.
You
I
said it
was,
was sheep.
dude. I go in there, right? They get these things by like the Mack truckload, right? And some of them are dead when it's crazy. But anyway, you take the sheep and you throw the grain down when they're all in the cage, right? And you have to take the big ones and grab them and throw them, like
What?
so the little ones can eat because the big ones will just stomp over
So
them.
you were
So
a sheep shucker.
I was a sheep shucker. I'm throwing sheep,
shucker, anyways.
right?
Yo.
Feeding them, but you know, it was the scene that was
So I
there
became
was
vegetarian,
horrible.
right? Working at my friend's
Smart
little
man.
bootleg farm. Yeah.
There you go.
That was the
If I
same thing.
would've-
They lived way out in the not the hood. They lived way out in the woods. They lived out in the woods, and they had this little. They had a couple cows and a couple horses and a couple chickens, and I thought it was a farm.
We
I was
had
like, yo,
we had a cow. I was like, what's the deal with this? Yo, this cow's like, he can't move. Like this dude is like, he's outside though in this cage thing, but he could, you know, he just chilling.
wow.
And it was like, oh, that's veal. I was like, what? We just feed him milk. That's it. Just pump him full of milk and then slaughter him. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like, I mean, you know, looking at it from a standpoint of, wow, you know, compared to how other people do it. You know what I mean? At least he kind of got to breathe in some fresh air.
Right.
But yeah, man, you know, my cousin and my family out in Canada.
What a plus. Yeah.
They run like the farm, like Canadian style farms where it's like, you know, acres and acres and acres, and they, you know, and it's definitely free range and it's cool, you know. They only take what they need and make their money off of other stuff that are not necessarily meats and stuff, you know, things like that. But cool. That was my favorite. It was real free. I was.
You hearing this man fly? You hearing what he's talking about?
No.
Jake Cruz holding a pitchfork, working on a farm.
No, it wasn't a pitchfork.
I can't.
It was a sheep. It was a
overalls
shepherd's staff.
I have no idea how that differs from a pitchfork.
I had
But
the
it sounds like
shepherd's staff, man. No, it's like it was a piece of wood. It was like a staff.
I feel you. He know the difference, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
He sees me with a pitchfork. The hay, the stuff you pick the hay up with and throw it.
Yo, my wife's family play games with me, like with trees and birds, and they're like, because they know I don't know any of that stuff, right? They'll be like, name that tree, and I look at it, and I'm like, elm. You know, like, no, it's not a. But I've learned, man. I've learned some things. I learned this like 3 years ago. And this had to do some with my wife with her mom and stuff. They like special bird was like these red cardinals down here in Virginia and stuff, right? There's red cardinals everywhere. And like if we saw a red cardinal in Boston, it was like you calling your friends like, yo, I saw a cardinal, and you know what I mean? It's not like an everyday occurrence, you know?
Right.
And be like, I might have saw a cardinal twice in my life living in New England, you know? And we get down here and they're like, yo, it's a cardinal. And her dad hit me. He was like, yo, how do you know? He's like, is that a male or a female? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, how would you possibly know that, right? He's like, oh, it's very easy. And I'm like, the color? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you didn't know that? I was like, no, what? And he's like, the red is the male. I was like, word, the red male is trying to be, I think it's the male, trying to be the attractive one, and the other, you know, trying to grab the lady's eye or whatever. I was
and that's strange though, how in the animal kingdom that is usually the opposite. Is usually the male trying to attract the female, especially with birds, like peacock and stuff like that.
Peacocks, flamingo.
On that Disney Plus, I get a lot. I'm into all that stuff, man. Like the nature. You know, I used to love, my favorite thing watching growing up when I was a little kid was like Africa. And they had the lions taking down the zebras and the cheetahs. Man, that was my joy.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
What was it, David?
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Whatever. Yeah, man, that was the bomb, man.
Oh, that one too. Yeah, that dude was so old on that show. I can't even remember his name. Marlon Perkins. Marlon Perkins. No, this dude's dead, dude.
Oh, Marlon Perkins.
Yeah, I'm in a whole nother age bracket than you. Marlon Perkins, Mutual of Omaha, dog. Dog,
135.
Dog, man. Yeah, I'm telling you. You know, Mutual of Omaha. Wow. This is back when Star Trek was on reruns and they were playing it, and I thought they were new. Really, Star Trek was like, I think in the 60s, but I was like, this was probably like 1980. I was like, yo, a little before Jay Cruz's time, just a little bit. He didn't come on the scene until a couple more scenes, but a couple more years. But yeah, man.
Well,
But
listen,
yeah,
hey boys, let me just tell you something. I got to turn this AC back on so my wife can breathe.
I gotta get out of here. Yeah,
We're gonna cut it short, man. This ain't gonna be.
This ain't
is the
short.
first
This is
time-
16 minutes long.
man. This is
I know,
almost
16 minutes over.
time, man.
But it's still, we're getting better. We will get to the 10:30 point at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do it a couple times coming up. Yo,
Is he still back in there?
It's I see the question, but no, he's not. I haven't seen him there in a while. I think he jumped out pretty soon after we were back there. But
well, again,
I did
shout
want
out to T for sure.
Yeah, I did want to make sure that anybody who was trying to get in touch with him can get in touch with him, and I figured he might appreciate that track, the grandma story. But yeah, man, it's great having him on, man. It's an amazing story. The more people can hear that, hopefully he's doing a lot of these kind of things and getting it out there, man. I'm sure down in your area he is. I mean, from what we can even see, we saw the ABC stuff, the PBS stuff, all that kind of stuff.
PBS, yeah, man.
Yeah.
But now, is it people advocacy, or I think it's people's advocacy? No,
I don't know a whole lot.
I saw it on Facebook. It's on there. People's advocacy. If you just search people's advocacy,
yeah. So when we posted it, we posted it as people advocacy. It's People's Advocacy Institute. But yeah, it's an official website. I'm on it right now. Make sure y'all check that out. peoplesadvocacyinstitute.com. Support the brother
Thanks, Tree. Tree said dry cleaners plant from 4:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. every summer 3 years in a row. My boss was my father. That's not cool. That is not cool at all.
Right.
Feel your pain.
4:30 a.m. to 7? What?
Open and close that joint, man.
You think 9 to 5? And she's like, nope, not gonna start at 9. We're gonna start at 4:30. And not 5. We'll go to 7. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's the only job, only other job that I had that I hated as far as just couldn't stand it was because of how many hours I worked. Now, I had 120-hour work weeks.
No wonder George Jefferson was making all that money.
Bro, I'd come home and this was for me it was a restaurant job, but that was other than that, everything else I ever done.
That's what's funny. Yeah, my wife was saying the same thing because she went to school to be a chef.
Yeah,
and
bro.
She was like, "Yo, I couldn't." She was doing
legendary
hotels, I want to say.
Yeah,
and nonstop. You know,
no, the hours
legendary.
Crazy, man. The hours was crazy, bro. We go in, man, at like 6:30 in the morning. Man, I get home like 1 o'clock in the morning.
And
it'd be like 7 days straight, like bam. So of course that turned into 14 days straight.
Yeah,
because
you like a doctor,
bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. I loved the actual work, but the amount of hours I had to spend doing it. Once I hit 120 hours in a week, I was like, yeah, that's the only job I ever had. And I was just like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, you can't. That's your life. See, that's what it is when you own the joint too. I mean, that's your life.
That's your life, bro.
That's you basically sleeping there. Yeah, that's tough. But anyway, boys, I gotta get this AC back on. I'm sweating out here. I know it's not Mississippi, and I know it ain't VA. But my wife, I feel bad for her. She needs that AC, and I need to stop sweating.
That's right. You can go. Fly and I are gonna talk for a couple more minutes.
Yeah, do your thing, man. Hey, peace. I love y'all, hip hop citizens.
Yeah, tune in.
We'll see y'all next week.
Hip hop citizens, baby. Peace, Jay. Hip hop citizens.
Man. Hey, Pro, I'm gonna have to call you, man, and holler at you too, man. I need to actually pick your brain, man, about some stuff.
Absolutely, man. If you don't want to do it live, that's fine.
Yo, I got something, man. Before y'all get off,
what you got?
For anybody that was watching that wants to get in touch with Terun or People's Advocacy or Strong Arms of Jackson, or if you just got a youth in your life that you feel like maybe somebody else should talk to. Maybe going down the wrong path or headed down the wrong path, you can reach out to him, or you can reach out to, of course, the Freedom Corner brand page or the True LD page, and I'll connect you with him for sure.
Solid. Yeah, man, it's gonna definitely work, man. We're in a particular era of this generation, man, where these kids are at a certain point, man. I know I speak for myself. But it's getting rough, man. These kids need intervention, and they're having trouble finding it close to home or in the home. People's advocacy, man, is going to really help with a lot of that. Especially here in Jackson, it's getting crazy. It's getting real crazy here in Jackson. So
I'm sitting here talking to you like, yeah, man, I agree. But I'm like, oh, my mic's off. Now I was typing. I didn't want y'all to hear me. Now I speak a lot about, being out here in Massachusetts. It's like we have, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy out here too. And the thing is that it's crazy everywhere. Anywhere where there's lack of opportunity and there's lack of funds, it's always going to necessitate. And it's like, there's so many trap cities in the country. I call Lowell, I mean, well before people were talking about trap houses, I call Lowell a trap city. It's a trap city, meaning, same derivative of where the word comes from, but it was like the trap was, it was drug infestation, right? Drugs everywhere, right? Cocaine was massive, crack epidemic was massive in Lowell in the 80s, right? Massive, out of control. And heroin was huge right after it, right? There's methadone clinics. There's trains that take you right into Boston, right up to Lawrence. It's right on the border. It's not far from the border of New Hampshire. It's also got waterways. It's got its own insular city that you don't need to come to unless you have business there, and that you don't need to leave because everything that you actually need is there, but it's got, the late night bars, the late night, it's like you can buy guns, every little thing that you'd ever want to be able to do. And it's just big enough that, it traps you in, people never leave there,
Yeah.
And I think about myself, like how much I loved Lowell, and I was like devastated to leave. And it's like, yeah, my mom's from Lowell. My dad's from Lowell. My grandparents all came and moved to Lowell. They weren't, my grandfather was born in Lowell, but his family was born in Greece. The immigrants come over, they're there. And it's like, everybody takes their turn of it being tough on this group and this group and this group. If you're black and brown, you can never escape from it. It's like Greek people can assimilate. You know what I'm saying? Like if I didn't tell you I was Greek, you'd have no idea. You know what I'm saying? You'd just be like, yo, there's some dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you can't do that. And so I can't stand listening to the typical white people get on and go, I had it so hard. I was Irish and you don't know how to. Yeah, we understand. Okay. Not to belittle people's stuff, but it's like you have been able to assimilate, right? It's like you essentially pass whatever you're Irish. I mean, that's Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? It's like, call it what it is. It's like you will assimilate, you will get in. So if you live in an area that there is a clear division along color lines, and the people can trap you in and say, yo, redlining with like, school zones and redlining with property, and be like, yo, this is the area that shall stay poor, and we're going to do nothing to help it.
Nothing to help it. No banks, no hospitals, nothing.
Right. It's automatic. Of course it's gonna be tough. And then as long as we keep this might think fly. As long as we keep property taxes as the fundamental thing that determines where you go to school, then it's 100% segregation. It's 100%. It's 100%. It's like people know what the solution is. Put funding into stop redlining in your community. Stop using property taxes to define which schools get what quality what, and then stop using metrics by fourth grade determining what prisons will get built off of the off the dropout rates. It's literally what they do. So it's like
what they do. And now that prisons been privatized, I mean, it's definitely all about the money. So yeah, they'll come up with whatever kind of things they can to ensure that people end in jail. Man, it's good. There's a lot of history in that too, though. It's a lot of history, man. With going all the way back. I mean, we can go way back, but I guess recent past would be with the whole Clinton administration, everything that transpired with the three out and the partnership that was going on with ammunition and the larger companies like Wally World, and it's a lot, man. It's a lot, bro.
Dog, this is what I fundamentally speak on, write on, talk on. I mean, it's like that's what's behind most of my writing and most of my research. It's like that's the area that I investigate, and it's like I don't know if you heard about Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, whatever. I mean, it so eloquently breaks down almost all of that. She does the research. It's crazy. A black woman writing the book on incarceration and writing on, the new Jim Crow, and how long it took for that book to get accepted and received, is indicative of the problem in itself, and people trying to dismiss works like that. When statistically, you could look at the book and you'd be like, this is a research paper on steroids. It was amazing. Like I've used it to teach from, and it's just like, if anyone hasn't read up on it, just her book, even though now it's a few years old, it's so relevant still today. It's just crazy, man.
And it's difficult to have a conversation, candidly with people, just because it's a sensitive subject, and there's a lot of ignorance that exists within the conversation. And in addition to that, people have I guess it may be just a human complex, man, and we actually end up doing this tonight, where it's kind of like, I had it worse than you did kind of complex, right? So it's just kind of like, I can't really feel your story because I got my own.
Because my thing's so tough. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so sometimes I was counseling earlier today on just marital process and just relationships in general. And one of the biggest things they didn't understand was that it's in a relationship, there is a part of this process where you have to realize that it's just not about you, right? Like, at all. And even if you're considering your own feelings, you have to find a way to also consider other people's feelings, even if it's totally different from yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, if we're consciously trying to make efforts to unify, then at some point you have to at least try to understand what I'm saying. If you don't, even if you don't agree with it, you can agree to disagree.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, okay, all right, it's different from my perspective, but it's a perspective. It's a perspective, absolutely. And so it's hard to have the conversation. And some people just don't want to have it. Man. It makes them
and that's honestly where the music comes in. I want to hit you with something. I'm gonna hit you with something. The piece that I did. I don't think you've ever heard me do this. I got it right here, if you don't mind. It's a piece a little bit on sort of civil rights and prison reform and like what you were talking about, privatization of prisons and everything. Let me put it on here if I can. You might have not seen me do anything like this, but people that know me know this is the kind of stuff that I do a lot of. I'd written this originally for Emerson College, and performed at a few other places as well too. So let's see if I can throw this on. Here we go. Right here.
We'll leave some for the people. I'm gonna hit you with this little quick acapella that I did for Emerson College a couple years ago for a civil rights celebration for 50 years, and then I'm gonna jump into that beat. All right, check it out.
I was trying to make it bigger, but I couldn't see what I was hitting.
First, let us remember, it is not possible to have an appreciation for the amalgamation of civil rights legislation and outcomes without first pausing to remember the assassination of black leaders like Martin and Malcolm. Now, son, please do not confuse my passion for African-American activism as passivism for when I witnessed the division in classes and passing kids at the cafeteria table split up more painful than sadomasochism. Listen, if Brown v. Board of Education put an end to segregation and tell me why I see no brown-skinned faces sitting at this table with all these Megans. Hi, Megan. Face it. You have locked yours at one time or another when a brother from a different color has approached your door. Even though it's not 1954 no more, sometimes it sure feels like only a few years before 64. For sure. We made improvements, but we got further to go until I no longer need to be proved my baby boy might grow up just like Emmett Till. Still, I have to teach him stand his ground for all these racists might attempt to make him turn it down like Jordan Davis. And these are just the faces on the news and them are famous, but for every Trayvon Martin, there's 100 unsolved cases. Mass incarceration now replaces the plantation. Boatloads of African Americans like slave ships. So thanks, Miss Alexander, but we got much worse than before, because now they literally making billions on the job for Unicor. Dressed in uniforms, be sure at these federal institutions, civil rights are well denied by this legal prostitution. So what's the solution? I say let's start with college presidents. The ivory tower needs more melanin, more estrogen, more feminine. And just in case you might have confused me as a new version for some Eminem, well, I've never candy coated on my lyrics. What's the benefit? See, that would be irrelevant in a time when non-intelligent lyrics and rap music is what they peddling as the precedent. Suppressing the positive messaging of the original 4 elements of hip-hop as a culture, now subjected to this censorship. Well, I am here self-evident, no cursing, non-repetitive, and instead of just battling rappers, well, these days I'd rather mentor them. Against all these impediments and prejudiced Confederate flags, they flew with pride as they tried to produce evidence of race superiority through the majority of schools. They tried to civilize the natives and prove Africans were fools. See, universities were tools for the racist spewing madness. But before them land-grant colleges, well, there was nothing much for blackness. I said before Barack Obama, well, there was nothing much for blackness. But now they got me asking, who's accountable at the moment? For civil rights, it's unacceptable. Guantanamo's still open. Still, he got me hoping civil rights are not ignored. Sure, 10-10 is not the answer, but at least the minimum is now more. So what do we have in store for all these kids from urban areas when separate is not equal, but the schools are still inferior? See, the barrier to becoming a college mathematician is when kids are passing calculus, but cannot do addition. See, when I was young in school, I used to listen to New Edition. I was like, can you stand the rain? I wanted to be just like them. If they told me, I'd have listened. So where are the role models, the athletes, the models, producers from tomorrow? Show us scholars that there's honor in a way to clock them dollars. Beyond just popping collars and beyond just popping bottles, beyond Beyonce on a surfboard, there's more to work for than McDonald's. See, we can solve our problems. We with more diversity can tell. Now I'm going to end it right here because I know there's some beats in the back that are ill. Because I know there's people that want to cipher, and I could go all night long. So DJ Dazball, why don't you just play my next song?
That was dope, bro.
Thanks, man.
That was dope.
Wasn't sure how much you could see that, but
that was dope. That was dope. On just for a lot of reasons. That was dope, though. The lyricism.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Cold. Especially the Eminem.
Yeah, that's fire.
Hard.
Thanks,
the Eminem line was super hard.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the kind of stuff I typically do. I do like college shows or whatever. I usually do like a couple of like acapellas like that, and then some songs that have that kind of material and speak on it, and then talk about some of the stuff behind it and like where it comes from, and then do some regular songs too. But yeah, man, it's like life's short, man. It's like you gotta figure out what we're doing it for. You know what I mean? What
exactly. That's the quality thing. We even went full circle. Life's short, man. You gotta live it to the fullest extent and make it worth something.
Not clean gerbil cages the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Too often though, we find ourselves in a situation where we're making life about the things that aren't valuable. Even like our monetary system, man, it's all really worthless. You know what I mean? It's only worth what we make it. Mm-hmm. And so there are things in our lives that actually has purpose. And so situations like that, man, you find what your ability is or what your purpose is in life, and to pursue that, man, it's hard to even call that work. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's challenging and difficulty, for some people it cost them their lives, man, but to them it was worth it. And so yeah, I read down my feet than to live on my knees. I've heard that quote several times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. It's man.
No doubt.
It's a beautiful thing, man. And I can tell you're passionate about it too. So that always helps in the translation, you know, when it's being conveyed to the audience. You can feel the passion. Yeah,
it's like I'm always talking about passion. Like, well, shout out to Jay too, saying it. He was like, "That was incredible, thanks." But like when Dude was talking about the poetry slam I won a couple weeks ago on his thing. I mean, I started with a piece that's about passion, you know, and I say I won't say the whole thing, but it's like, so I start out conversationally, like you don't even know I'm rapping. It's like, so what inspires you? Like, what do you aspire to? Can you think of a place and time that you'd like to retire to? If you can, then I admire you, but I cannot lie to you because I am not in the frame of mind where I am even trying to. Think about the future that our leaders may aspire to when the highest of them all is always kind of like, you're fired, dude. So here is what I've tried to do. It's find the right attire to convey to you my passion goes beyond a simple tie or two. I'd rather find a tire tube, slip and slide on a ride or two at a water park, but I'm not going to start just act like I'm required to. Take the 2 weeks paid on some vacation in the shade, then act like I am something other than a modern slave. Of course, there are no chains. I'm not degrading that reality. I'm just simply pointing out we all are jumping over salaries. So where's the liberation when a vocation or a trade is so totally consuming? We consume from where we're paid. Like where we're still afraid to break the chains of our oppressors And it starts for me each day when I place my chain upon the dresser. Will I reach for something boring or the Jordans that are fresher? The snapback and the t-shirt or the sport coat and the sweater? Sometimes we let our voices in our head become our bosses that tell us how to dress and think and act inside our office. The point I hope I'm making is the bondage can be mental, and it trickles down to rappers choosing words on instrumentals. See, we act like we're compelled to follow rules and make decisions based on policies and codes that oftentimes are never written, just to fit inside a mold that we have buried on our shelves in some cookie cutter templates that we bury on our shelves, burying our soul inside a shell of our true selves that we rarely show to others for a fear of losing wealth, a fear of losing safety for exposing who we are. So our Superman stays hidden and all we give him is our Clark. Our Spider-Man stays hidden and all we give him's Peter Parker, and we don't need Diana Prince to wonder what a woman offers. See, several authors, they masquerade as just the faculty and they hide their superheroes they've acquired somewhat naturally, because rhymers actually, to me, with all their substance, got more superhero in them than the entire hall of justice. So shall we crumble by letting somebody else budge us? Or will we stay socially conscious, letting nobody come bully or budge us? You know, something like that. So.
Oh yeah.
Fire.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks.
Fire.
Appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's like, you know, we gotta ask those questions. Like, what are we doing it for? You know,
What
like,
are we doing it for?
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's it, man.
Fire.
Yeah.
That's part of
Thanks,
my
LD,
journey.
man.
That's
Appreciate
part
you.
of my journey with my music too.
Even
man.
though I can't see you, LD. LD's the constant amoeba.
That's the man.
He's like, he's
yeah,
always
man.
there. He's like,
man,
he's
man behind the scenes, man.
yeah, he's like the Wizard of Oz, man.
The hand.
Silent hand that moves us all.
Yeah, man. I always appreciate, man, quality people, man, and people that's just, I don't like pity too. That's another reason why it's often challenging for me too to really have a real candid discussion with people about the things that has happened. And I can tell you that, I mean, I could make excuses. I'm the last person to give people slack on excuses. You know what I'm saying? And so the reality of it is that there are things that does hinder people, that's not their responsibility. And we're not all the same. And so some people don't ever overcome those obstacles that someone else put in front of them. And when it comes to, I believe wholeheartedly in generational curses. I believe that people today suffer from things that happened to people decades ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And some people can't make that connection.
The reverberations are so clear, I think. You know what I'm saying?
For you and I, yeah, but most people don't think it has anything to do with it. You'll hear people say, you know, where, you know, it's not like I own slaves or enslaved people. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't me. It was my. So it to them, there's no connection. But I've witnessed it now, being, you know, in my 30s. I've seen people who were older than me, who grandparents were a certain way. Yeah, and for real. And I look at their children, and I'm like, man,
of course,
it's a cycle.
Yeah, like I saw this thing recently about your boy, who's not your boy, about Mitch McConnell, and they were tracking his. Yeah. I mean, that dude reeks of slave owner like a mile away, right? And it's like he's 3 generations removed from slave owner, and that's like not a shock, you know. But he's one of those. Oh, it's not like we're owning slaves or whatever. Right. It's like, dude, you were straight up like, you know, you look like, you know, Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders to me looks like the biggest slave owner of all time. Whenever I look at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'm like, that dude owned hella slaves, right? And he looks like Mitch McConnell. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. He didn't learn how to fry that chicken on his own, B. Come on, man.
Yeah. But it ain't just about him. It's just about so many people that just like, it's like, how can you not see this? You know, like, it's like, yo, imagine you shackle people from another country, take them over on a boat. By the millions, you throw them in the water. Like, that's the other part of it. Do you know how many people died?
Dude, that didn't even make it.
Yeah, that just were just discarded and literally human bodies thrown overboard, right? And the shock of that, imagine someone in your family that happening to, where someone gets thrown out. And that's not the worst of it. You know, you could say some of those people did better than people who came over who get humiliated. I mean, we know the history, right? And it's like, and that's just the superficial. And now you split from your kids. Your kids are pulled apart and sent off into slavery as their children, taken from their mother, it's just like, yo, dog. It's like, yeah, I get the fact that that might have been hundreds of years ago, but dog, how long is that going to sting for? How long are the reverberations of families not growing up with, you know, male and female providers that, you know, somebody that you can look to as a positive role model? You can't even look to your, not let alone know the history of who your family is, what their names were, where they came from.
I have no clue.
Yeah, you know how many white people know their history for like 500 years? I mean, it's crazy. They know, like, they'd be like, yeah, my uncle Bob on my 7th side of my mother's 4th family. You know, they're like, oh, yeah, there's a village in, you know, in Sweden that it's like, yo.
Yeah, no, that's important.
What a privilege.
There's significance in that because you were just talking about purpose. And when you have a history of entrepreneurs or, you know, your parents, were farmers or industrious, you know, that helps give you a foundation for a purpose as a
like,
as
I can do
right.
it. Yeah,
if you can trace that history, you know what I mean? Like my parents were painters, my grandfather was a painter. Like that helps give you purpose, like you was talking about, the thing that defines your life, at least puts you on track to something if you have something, you know, to, you know, refer back to. Or even it's a trade that your old man taught you, that his old man taught him. Just little stuff. When families are being separated and, you know, dads are being, so now it's just, now the behavior has become so repetitive that now it looks like, yeah, you know, y'all just, you know, don't know what y'all are doing. But it's a learned behavior. We were taught, you know, we were taught to be over decades and decades and over generations and generations. So now it's a habit. We don't know another way in some cases. And so, but again, you know, I don't really like pity. So I just feel like you put your whole heart into it, and you something out of your life that's quality, no matter you know what happened. And so that's my quest, man, every day. Like, how do I make some quality out of my life? I refuse to allow my kids to grow up in an environment that I grew up in the streets. I probably should be dead or in jail right now, but I refuse to be caught in that trap, man. And so leaving Chicago was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. Yeah. And I'm grateful every day. I was mad, man. I flipped the bird to my uncle, man, my favorite uncle too. But that's how mad I was about them shipping me off to Mississippi. I didn't want to go. And, you know, hindsight, man, of course, is always 20/20, right? I look back now and I'm like, I'm so glad, man, that I didn't stay, man. Because I got homies, man, right now to this day, man, it's just in and out of jail. Yeah. I got family members that, I mean, can't even are in their name. You know what I'm saying? Because of the history that they have and things that transpired, they didn't even know how to change their lives. And so I'm grateful, man, for the situation that I'm in today, all that happened. I thank God every day because I know my life worse. And so I'm just going to make the best out of it. And it ain't about, you know, material things. You know what I'm saying? I found my purpose, and that gives me a cause every day.
You know, one of the big things that I always used to wrestle with when I was coming up as an MC or whatever, it would always be that fine line. We were talking about fine lines earlier. Jay and I were talking about, and shout out to Jay over there in the chat. But it was like one of the fine lines I always had, and there's other MCs who have been down this path too. You can see it, they struggle with it. Has always been that, you know, appearing crispy and fresh so that people will think you're successful kind of thing, right? That we all kind of stumble with, right? It's like, it's so ingrained in you that, yo, gotta have my sneakers that match my hat. Gotta have my clean, crispy, you know, whatever. I gotta have my jeans that are just so, and there's something to that because it's so ingrained in us that we think, well, this person clearly is a failure if they don't have that. You know what I mean? And so it becomes this catch-22 that manifests itself where it's like, yo, I'm doing a show. Man, I gotta make sure I look crispy. And it's like, do you really have to make sure you look crispy? Like, do you really? I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I do the exact. I'm speaking obviously from self-experience. It's like the first thing that pops in my head is like, yo, like once I've done something that I feel like good about, I'm like, yo, I gotta go buy myself a pair of new kicks right now.
Automatic.
Yeah, automatic. Like, yo, like, yo, this is a new, by the way, this is a new sneaker store that's like all custom. It's all J's, the whole thing. And these are like resellers and it's in the mall. They're in the mall, right? They have a pair of twos in there that are just stupid. And I was with my son and it was only because my son was there and it was, you know, still dealing with the COVID stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was killing him. I'm like, yo, and I started thinking about like, what do I really want those sneakers for? Like, what does it really say? And again, I'm not past that. I'm not over that. I deal with that struggle all the time, you know, but it's like, think of how many of us do. It's been so ingrained in us, our parents, maybe for my case, definitely not my parents, but like some of your older brothers, you know, I didn't get my first pair of Nikes till I was like 15 and they were like green and mesh, you know what I'm saying? And they were from Marshalls, but it was, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, when I got older, I was like, damn straight that I'm going to go, first thing I'm going to do is go get myself a pair of sneakers or whatever. And I remember teaching at Lowell High when I started teaching, and I started doing a little bit better, right? Went from the whole driving the cab thing to substitute to like now I got a full-time teacher position. Now some of the music money's starting to come in better, and I'm doing pretty well, right? Living in Lowell with a college degree, teaching as a full-time high school teacher, man, you could live like a rock star from where I was from. Like that's big money for there. And I remember saying to my students and being, and I've heard myself say this in college because I was also doing adjunct professor work, right? So I got multiple little streams of income. And I'm like, yo, you know what's so dope? I would say this as a line for why people should get their college degree. I'm like, I can just go to the mall anytime I want and go buy the flyest kicks in there any given time. Can you imagine that? Like how lucky I am? And I'm like, that's my measure of success, where it's like, yo, I can buy a pair of sneakers and not even have to think twice about it. And that's how our mind is trapped so often. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
that's crazy.
How do you break from that? Yeah. But you gotta, because it's like, yo, what does it say about me if I can't afford to keep my teeth clean and my hat fresh and my sneakers clean? I come up and I show up at a show, we all do it. And it's a catch-22. It's like, do I really need to go drop $300 on like an outfit to do a show that I'm getting paid nothing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? That for years I would do that. Yeah, at least now if it's like, if it was a real bag and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I will go get the sneakers. You know, it's not like you're splurging everything that doesn't make sense. I got nothing against people, whether it's a video game or clothes, whatever. Yo, buy whatever it is that makes you, that works for you, right? That makes you feel whatever, a kind of way, but not like with the formula I was doing. I'm dropping 300 on a show that pays nothing. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what are we doing?
Yeah, man.
I don't know where that comes. I don't know where it comes from, man. Of course, it's a long line of stuff, like you said, man. It's a thin line. For me, I know personally, like, because I care about my gear like a lot.
Of course, yeah.
Like,
so do I. Yeah.
To a fault, bro. Like to a fault. And so, but I'm like that about everything.
Really?
I'm like that about everything, bro. I care about the details and everything.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So it's not even
I hear you.
Clothes though. It's just like
I hear you.
If I see lint under the TV on my TV stand, like I noticed that, and it looks out of place to me. And so I'm like that about everything. When I see old cars, I think about, man, the process of restoration.
Yeah.
When I see an old house, I think the same way. Like, to me, it's just like dressing it up, putting new shoes on it, cleaning it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so for me, my mind works like that in every aspect of my life, and especially my clothes. I'm just like, no, this got to be like this.
This ain't right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this ain't right. There's no way. I can't throw on this whole Adidas tracksuit then throw Nikes. I don't know why.
I mean, that's because you're an OG, man. You can't. You gotta let them know the rules, man. You gotta let them know the rules. I mean, I had on socks the other day. I had on some Adidas socks the other day, and I was putting on these like Pumas, and it was like they're like ankle socks. And I'm like, I don't even have anything that doesn't even say anything on the ankles. Like, there's no way to make this work. Like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta find my plain white socks. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't make people think I don't know the rules. You know what I mean?
You need therapy, man. I need therapy.
It's therapy. It's a therapy thing. It's unless we talk on it, you know what I'm saying? Put it in the music and be like, what is going on? Only when you question it can you eventually do something about it. You know, like you have to know you're doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, know that you're being ridiculous. I mean, everything's learned, man. Everything's learned. Everything is learned, you know? And yeah, I get in these old man rapper conversations sometimes. I know we got to wrap it up, but like, you know, I can't stand when I'm listening to like the older MCs talking about these whippersnappers, you know, they're so blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, first off, old school hip hop is whack. I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, my own opinion, like, dude, I grew up on old school hip hop. Trust me. Like, the old school I listened to was whack. They couldn't even rap on beat. You know, it sounds like caveman rap. You know what I'm saying? And it's like just be honest.
Really what it was.
Yeah, just be honest. It was whack. It was like what you like was the period of life that you were in when that came out. I get it. You think that time was the best, right? Because acknowledge that, like, sonically, the music that's out now, right, that everyone wants to bash or whatever, sounds so much better from a quality. I'm not talking about the MCing, but like from a quality perspective, what the music sounds like, like
sonics,
compared to the stuff that was in like the early 80s and the way people were rapping. people talking about people now have no skills. It's like, were you listening to the people in the old school? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I get so bashed all the time because I'll dare say something against Run DMC. I'm like, I'm sorry, Run DMC are not like elite MCs. You know what I'm saying? And it's like at the time they were so amazing. Trust me, I was like, yo, Tougher Than Leather, yo, this is all great. Rock, 1, 2, 3, Rock Box, blah blah blah. Peter Piper, yo, it's all crazy. Like. But in retrospect, that did not age well 2 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, no.
It was like, and people are like, they're so amazing. And it's like, come on, dog. Like my point with all this is that you have everybody wants to knock that generation or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And clearly there is things in today's generation from an objective standpoint. You can say, okay, this is just trash. There's other, this is clearly trash, right?
Undoubtedly.
But at the same breath, you have to be willing to say in your generation, this stuff that was trash. Like, say it. It's okay. No one's going to beat you up. Run DMC are not elite wordsmiths, and they never were. They were dope when they came out. Everyone was loving it or whatever, or whoever. We could say it about many, many groups. Some groups age well because they were ahead of the curve. Others groups didn't. Admit it that Rob Bass is no freaking elite rapper. You know what I'm saying?
You're on the limb right now, bro. You're on the limb. You know what I mean? The truth. Telling the truth.
Nah, absolutely. It's like
nursery rhymes.
I felt that then. I didn't even want to rhyme because the stuff sounded so whack. It was just like, yo, I've been rapping since I was like, people would be like, oh, when did you start rapping? Yeah, for real. When I got in high school, like, you know, me and my man Fee, we started rapping like for real. Yeah, I was writing rhymes when I was like, you know, a little kid and listening to the stuff and going, this is garbage. Like, this is absolute garbage because I'm older. And so the stuff then was garbage, you know?
Right.
It wasn't until I heard, you know, Kane and Rakim that I was like, yo, this is on a whole different, you know, not to say there weren't a few. There was. Every now and then you hear somebody do something, whatever, and you'd be like, yo, that was kind of hot. LL, of course, when he came up. But you even think about the way LL rhymes. It's like, I'm so big and I'm bad and I'm blah, 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 blah. And everything lands on the one. And it's just like, and then you hear someone like Andre 3000 and you're like, dude, this dude is in a whole different world in terms of like sonically how the dude rhymes, talks, speaks. How do you not acknowledge that as ridiculous? And then everyone in the East is like, yo, it's so whack, the Southern stuff. And it's like, dude, there's a lot of whack East Coast stuff too. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I grew up on East Coast. I grew up on East Coast hip hop. I didn't really, I mean, I guess South hip hop was deeply hidden in, you know, UGK.
Yeah. We didn't get that. It wasn't like
MJG.
Yeah, it was like I knew who they were, but I was never checking for it. You know, I was like, nah, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah, it took like Hot Boys, Master P. Even though to me, like Ghetto Boys, like those guys were solid. You know what I'm saying?
Now Ghetto Boys,
Scarface,
East Coast people check for Scarface and Ghetto Boys. Yeah.
They did, and so that's what I was saying. Like that connection started to be made, you know, within that little parameter, like Scarface.
I jumped on West Coast stuff early, man. I was like there were just West Coast MCs that I immediately thought sounded dope. You know, I just immediately liked them. Now, lyrically, yeah, for the most part, they weren't the same as East Coast MCs, but musically and sonically, I was like, yo, why doesn't some of our music sound like this? Like the low end was dope. Like the 808s were crazy. It was just like everything. Yeah, even like someone who you think of as like not a great MC, like a Sir Mix-a-Lot. Like even something like My Posse on Broadway. I mean, that music is bumping right now. That's exactly what you're hearing right now.
Exactly what
you know
what I'm
saying? And it's like it was dope. It was dope then sonically. You know what I mean? And like, yo, people like MC Breeze and stuff like that. I was just like, yo, this dude's dope. Like, I like that stuff. And most East Coast people are like, it's taboo. You can't ever listen to it. I'm like, yo, if it's good, it's good. Like I was telling Jay yesterday, I will massacre beats that come out right now that sound dope, that are melodic. That's actually right in my lane. But for what happens a lot of times is people go, oh, lyrical made track. Yeah, dude, I was alive in freaking 1988 making track. Doesn't mean I want to rhyme over 1988 beats every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can kill them, but you give me some stuff that's like, that really sounds sonic to me, that's more melodic, I'm going to kill that. You know what I'm saying? So it's
go way harder.
Never been like on that, oh, we're so lucky and privileged to, you know, come from the golden era. Like, dude, it was lots of hella awful stuff. and there is right now. And people, some of the people who we think right now are legends will look at it and be like, yo, seriously? Like, didn't age well. You know?
Nursery rhymes be. No, I felt like that too. I never really knew how to say that. Of course, you know, being born, I was born in the late 80s. So going through the 90s, no, I didn't really grow up on Rakim.
Yeah,
and like the first rapper for me that really just caught was like Jay and Nas.
Yeah,
but But even Nas was kind of like hot before Jay.
Right.
And so I even miss like at that time I missed like early Nas stuff, you know, Illmatic. Was too young to really fully understand. So it was one until I got older, man, I really started to appreciate some of that stuff. But growing up and talking to, like, let's say my brother, I got a brother that's 10 years older than me and another one that was 15 years older than me. I couldn't talk to them about music, period. Because they didn't necessarily come up appreciating music from the era that I did. They were there near the beginning, like you described.
Were they listening to Common Sense? Can I borrow $1?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, of course, they kind of, you know, grew or changed along with the times. But trying to explain to them, like, no, I was like, he was like, what, you don't listen to so-and-so? I'm like, no, that's trash to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yep.
it's always been a challenge. So it's good to hear from an OG that, you know, some of the music was trash, man. I'm glad somebody said it, man, because I felt like it was nursery rhyme. People
feel like they can't say that. You know what I'm saying? And I say it with all due respect. Like, I mean it like some stuff just doesn't age well. I'm not saying it wasn't incredible when it came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that our brains thought it was incredible because there was nothing else to compare it to. But in retrospect, it's like, yeah, like certain people have evolved very well. And that's what made Jay such an enigma, right? Is that he evolved with he was way ahead of the curve, and then changed the music, and then waited for it to catch up. And only now is he starting to fade from sort of relevancy, like LL did 7 years ago. You know what I mean? It was like it was LL was amazing too. It was like, how is this dude not falling off? But they flipped it. They were smart. They were very business savvy. They flipped it into, you know, entertainment, movies, television, you know, deals, sponsorships, all that stuff, to just stay in the eye long enough that you didn't have to hear the music every single day. So that then when they did drop, you like, can't wait for some more of that new LL album. And it's like 10 albums in a row of platinum. It's like, how you doing that? But, you know, there's not many. Most people, they stick in their era and they're like, yo, this is what it is. And I'm not saying I don't like the era that I'm from. I do, of course. Yeah. In my head too. I'm like, yo, it's the greatest era of all time, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, but I can objectively stand back and go, there were hella whack people, and some of those people have not advanced. And if you put them on a mic right now, they're going to sound trash, you know? And it's like, does that mean I want to audio tune myself up on every track and, you know, hear myself, you know, no, it doesn't mean that at all. But when I listen to it, I go, yeah, that sounds dope. Like, I would like to rhyme on that. You know what I mean? And like, I've never been.
Well, so let me ask you this too, because like, just from music for two perspectives, you mentioned like, hearing you say Jay falls off, it really just kind of hit that same accord for me, right? Because it's like he's no longer really relevant, and that's in the sense that he was a few years ago. I watched that last night with LeBron, and where it's just kind of like the end of an era, not quite,
yeah, right.
But you can see that sharp decline. You know what I'm saying? You knew it was coming, and you could tell years ago that peak was. That mound was slowly starting to change, but now it's on that sharp decline. And it's kind of like, man, now I know how the OGs felt when you talk about that era. They're Larry Bird. You talk about Jason Tatum a lot. You start talking about Larry Bird, it's just like cartoon scene.
Yeah, I don't even understand it. It's like, dog. Like, I probably watched every Larry Bird game that, you know, actually I wasn't heavily into basketball when he started, but that's actually what did it for anyone living up here. It was like all of a sudden there's a relevant player who's going to change the landscape. And he did, right out the gate. I mean, dude changed the landscape right out the gate. And it was like, dude is unbelievable, remarkable, all that kind of stuff. Because he's a slow, awkward white dude who's just like, you know what I'm saying, who doesn't look possible, the things he's doing. Which you throw that in a historically racist Boston market, you got yourself something that's going to work really, really well. You know,
really well.
Especially when the team's named after an Irish leprechaun, you know? And so all this stuff about, you know, dude stepping on the thing. I mean, that's like, those are fighting words up here. Like, people are like, oh my God, Kyrie Irving stepped on the mascot. Like, dude, are you serious? Are you really serious?
How many times he stepped on that mascot? I mean, like, incidentally, you know?
I know, right? You know, it's like the disrespect of it. Dude, he just got booed for hours and hours and hours by a bunch of Boston aggressive, overly irritated fans that haven't been in a full capacity game in a year and a half. So I kind of get it on both sides because he left in a bad way. But you seriously, like, people like want hits on the man. It's like, yo, when he comes in, we're going to show him what happened. And so it's like, dog,
That's out of control,
he stepped
man.
on a leprechaun that you wouldn't have known unless KG talked about it or unless somebody, called attention to it. It's like, dude, he stepped on a freaking painted leprechaun. Like, he did not disrespect Boston.
It's not
like,
that serious.
it's
man.
not that serious. Yeah, he did disrespect Boston. That was his intent. But it's like, dude, he could have done a lot worse. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't it crazier though that you really believe in leprechauns?
Right.
Like,
right. Like, yo.
like
I was saying on my post, like, I know the real Lucky. I know the dude who is Lucky. Like shout out to Kit, man. He's a good dude. Like the dude who plays the leprechaun. It's like, I know the real dude, and knowing him, I'm sure he ain't losing any sleep over it. I'm sure he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Someone stepped on the painted leprechaun. My Lucky Charms, I'm never gonna look at them the same. It's like, sorry, I got thousands of people on my feed that are up in arms about it. I'm like,
yeah,
seriously?
You struck a nerve, bro. But you right. And
I don't mean on my post. I mean, like, through my feed throughout the day, people posting on the same thing, but taking the other stance. Like, yo, this is unbelievable. Like, we're gonna have to show him who's boss or whatever. And I'm not gangster now because I don't feel that way, dude. You're a bunch of grown men mostly men, arguing about a dude stepped on a leprechaun. A painted leprechaun, right? After you booed him to a point of obnoxiousness,
then
right?
That's not a word.
Yeah, and it's like, dog, like because he stepped on actually, the kid who threw the leprechaun, threw the water bottle when he stepped on the leprechaun, chances are he didn't see that he stepped on the leprechaun because nobody knew. You know what I'm saying? It was like you had to see the replay. People had to, you weren't looking. Even if you saw that from far away, you wouldn't even know what he's doing. It looks like he had gum on his shoe. I was like, I had to watch the replay like 3 times. Oh, that? I was like,
that's what y'all mad about?
Seriously, dog? I could see if he was like in Fenway Park playing in Boston, it was the Green Monster, and he went up and drop kicked it in the middle of the thing, and he like everybody saw him do it, and everybody, I could understand the crowd turning on him on that, whatever. But you're gonna, after the fact, turn on him and get, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Come on, dude.
Yeah, bro, y'all fan different up there, bro.
For real.
Yeah,
Yankee fans are very similar, but very similar. But
Yankee fans, man, I'm trying to think of who else is crazy like that.
Chicago got some. Wrigley fans.
We serious. No,
yeah.
no doubt. I was getting there. I was saving the best for last. No, Chicago fans is outrageous, and Knicks fans though. Knicks fans are outrageous.
They're just waiting for an excuse to be outrageous.
Man, when I saw the mayor on television calling out Trae Young, I was like, oh, this is serious. Like, Knicks fans are crazy.
For real. I mean, all the big city fans are outrageous. But it's like, it's like people, that's what people are living for. They're living for their entertainment, man. That's what we got to do. So we got to get out, man. We got to get out of here. All right, man. Been real. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Peace.
Later.